Hello, everyone. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. Oh yeah. I forgot I moved it. I changed that. Nah, it's gonna stay like that for now. Hello. I'm back. Let me set some things up because I'm not completely ready. Mainly my camera didn't do anything to set that up, so I'm gonna do that now. Yeah, bah, and blah, this, and a little bit like this, maybe something like, a little brighter. Okay, that's probably fine. Saturation's good. All right, hello. My camera's a little, not how it usually is. Do I want to set this up now? You know what? It's like no one here. Let me just... 1 second. So I own a tripod, and what I've been doing for the last little bit is just having it all the way lowered, and I have my camera on that. But today I had to take it off the tripod, but I forgot to put it back, so I might just do that real quick. Will that require me to unplug this? No. Okay. You know, I'm gonna cut away for a second, and I just have to move this around. But rather than just you guys seeing this just whoosh go all over the place, I'm gonna cut away, set this up, be right back. Okay. All right, are we good? Why does that keep happening? I think we're good now. That was more annoying than I remembered. So I haven't had to take that off the tripod in a while. Well, actually, basically since I started streaming. Let's make this better. Not what I wanted. That decent, like the redder side. That makes me pale. Something like that. It's not so pink. One hit. Hey, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. I'm back for the first time in a million years. Here, let me brighten this and just started basically. Just setting up my camera. Had to. Oh, I'm ruining something. Okay, hold on. Let me make this better. You decided to stream when I have to go to bed? Well, sorry about that. Well, I will be streaming. I should be streaming basically all day tomorrow is the plan. But I wanted to stream tonight as well because I can. I don't know how long tonight's stream will be, but yeah, I'm finally able to stream again. So here we are. Before you go, this is a thing that I've been working on. So I was working on this like a little bit over the last few days, like in between studying for the exam that I just wrote, which went really well. It's still buggy, but I just lost the ability to jump there, so let me just restart that. But effectively, it's cool. It doesn't work as well on cubes, or more. It's not so much cubes as much as it is objects with not a lot of vertices to them. So this effect is a lot more apparent on spheres. Or even if a cube was more subdivided, it would work better there. But I have work and school tomorrow. Fair enough. Well, I'm finally free from all my exams and whatnot. So I've just spent the last like many days. Like the reason I haven't been streaming is just because I've been like studying and all that. So, and yeah, they all went well. So that's good. I'm finally done. So I'm gonna stream today and tomorrow. Tonight I plan on doing some of this. Working on an abstract adventure game. Mainly, I want to finish off some stuff with this that I was working on, and now it's currently broken and introducing a lot of bugs. Like what was happening where sometimes I just lose the ability to jump. I think, yeah, so like right now I can't jump anymore for some reason. So, working out the kinks. In fact, yeah. I think it thinks that I'm always the sphere. Or maybe not. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, yeah, that's stuff I'm figuring out. And then tomorrow I'm going to be spending all day making an anthropomorphic raccoon that I'm going to be voice acting in a little bit. So that's the plan. But then, unfortunately, after that, it might be a while before I can stream again. Still figuring out things there. But got Christmas and other things going on. But yeah, so at the very least, today and tomorrow should be streaming. So maybe I'll see you around and all that. Yeah. But yeah, so this is a game that I haven't touched in a year now, basically, called An Abstract Adventure. I might be renaming it, because I thought of a name that I'm on the fence of if I like it more or not, but it definitely fits what the game is a little bit more. Oh, a hoo-coon, a raccoon. Oh, allow. Well then, it tried to block that word. I don't know what is wrong with that word, but yeah. A raccoon. You know what a raccoon is? No. Or trash panda. Or other such names. It's basically going to be the mascot of our game that we're making. You'll be seeing progress of on the streams over the next little bit. It needs to be done in April, so by then it should be done. Not just the raccoon, I mean the whole game of what the raccoon's being used for. Yeah, so that's something. We got this cool combos with movement to be fixed. Like there's an infinite height glitch. Oh, not when I lose the ability to jump. Oh, okay. It did think I was full-time sphere, isn't it? Yeah, there's problems here with this. I know I like pet raccoons. Interesting. Well, we still need a name for our raccoon. We don't know what we're calling it. Is it the hover that's messing that up? Oh. Well, okay. Yeah, still working on problems. But this is a cool effect. I was playing around with shaders and was able to do this. So this isn't just a visual effect. This actually matters. So I was just doing stuff there without explaining at all what I was doing. So there's two things here. Okay, so this was working a year ago. This whole going back and forth between two things. What I specifically was doing yesterday was making it look cooler. I added both an outline and this like shaky whoosh whooshness to it. It's not perfect and could definitely be a lot better, but this is just what I was able to accomplish in like a few hours of playing around with it. But it's pretty cool so far, and ideally we find ways of making it even cooler. But yeah, this is just, especially like one problem with it is this ideally wouldn't be happening, and this would be like the same size, but it works for now. It works for now, and it's cooler than. Let me go find the video of what it looked like in my last recording, which was this. This was like a year ago, I think. So it's a lot better than this. I also it doesn't have this magenta stuff. I got rid of that before, like after this video, like a year ago, where it doesn't really have the magenta-ness on the ends as much. I haven't opened Unity in a while. Yeah, me too, pretty much. That's because, yeah, I've just been doing all non-Unity related things, like C++ programming, learning networking stuff, basically just how the internet works. I don't know what. Interesting. I keep losing the ability to jump and stuff like that. But yeah, now I finally get to use Unity again. Oh wait, I also in my playing around, I switched to the dark side. I actually went, and you can see it on my home thing. I downloaded Unreal, and I experimented with the Unreal Engine 4. So Unreal Engine 5 isn't out yet, or it's in like beta, but I experimented with Unreal Engine 4 because I could, I guess, because I wanted to just see what it's all about. Would I find it immediately, this is so much better than Unity, and then like jump ship immediately, which was not the case. But I can see the potential of Unreal, and would like to play around with it more at some later point in time. I didn't really search up any tutorials. I kind of just like tried to do things effectively. It's like, how would I do this thing? Like how I do things in Unity. Oh no, not the dark side. Yeah. I have nothing against people who use Unreal. I'm just making jokes because it's like Unity and Unreal kind of being competitors, sort of. But no, it's interesting. It is interesting how different it is from Unity. You have to get into like a very different mindset with a lot of things. And also programming-wise, it either uses C++ or these things called blueprints, which is like visual programming. I think it's kind of like Unity's Bolt thing. I've never used Bolt, so I don't know how similar. But it definitely is similar to how I've used Unity's shader graph stuff, like this. It's in the same ballpark, well, visually, not like actually using it. But yeah, no, I couldn't even get. I figured out how to get input. I could get user input. I could not get an object to move. That was like, because the whole system it has for actors and pawns and possessing a player or possessing an actor to control it. So all this weird stuff that I definitely just don't understand, like figuring out like terminology and what certain things mean, because there was like some default stuff for like a player, an actor, and a pawn, and I didn't fully understand the difference between all of them and how to properly implement them beyond like default stuff. But it's interesting, for sure. I definitely think I'd have more luck if I actually just looked up tutorials. Like, my Unity-only knowledge doesn't quite cut it. But without Googling stuff, I did figure out how to get input, which was a step. Yeah. One time I went to a Unreal stream, asked for help with Unity. Oh, yeah, I don't think that's gonna help you too much. They're very different programs, that's for sure. They have similarities for sure. It's not like it's completely different, but their differences, like there's a lot of conceptual differences. Yeah, well, I don't know, if I use it more then I could probably point out more similarities and more differences or whatever. But yeah, it seemed easier to set up initially than Unity, because Unity has all the complexities with like all these different, 3 different render pipelines. Oh, which one do I use? And all that sort of stuff, where Unreal just kind of has, well, it has different default scenes for different purposes. Like, here's a third-person default scene. Here's a first-person default scene. Here's a I don't even know. Like, there's a vehicle one, I think. There was a 2D platformer one. So it had stuff like that. I was just messing with them. Fair enough. Unity kind of has the same thing with their standard assets, but like, it doesn't have the pipeline thing. Which, I mean, I think Unity's like long-term goal is to phase out the default pipeline, so that it's just the HD render pipeline and the universal render pipeline. I think that's their long-term goal, but you know, they're not there yet. With the goal being that, like, I think the HD render pipeline is like for mobile stuff, or for like, it's more the default low-end thing, but can be used for high stuff, high resolution cool stuff. But then the HD render pipeline is more for top-end, you know, high-end stuff. That's what I gather anyway. But yeah, so that's that. I'm just also messing around here while I'm talking, but yeah, so it was certainly interesting to experiment with. At some point, I'll probably play around with it more, and yeah, I don't know. If I do that, I'll probably do that on stream, experiment. Maybe try to, like, yeah, recreate Rollerball in Unreal or something like that. I have yet to make a game on my own. I have a million bajillion unfinished projects, so I'm not too far behind. Like, this is very unfinished. This has gone through so many phases of changing. Like, this is how this game looked like ages ago. It looked like this. I'm hoping to eventually get this character style in 3D somehow. So that's something. I also do have a design of what the ball guy will look like, but it's just not in this video. Then, oh, that's a different thing. That's the thing. This is the thing I recorded today. I'm looking for. It also looked like this at one point. This was when I made the jump for 2D to 3D, because I can't draw. I can't make 2D stuff. Couldn't Photoshop well, like 2D environments. I struggled so much that I was like, I can't. Like, as cool as the other one looked, I just can't continue that in that kind of style, because I couldn't make it. I physically could not make that art style. But yeah, the videos are out of order because they're like alphabetical with how I titled them. But yeah, but no, that's all the different phases of this one game. On top of this, of how much it kept changing because I didn't like how it was turning out. But you doing it on your own with 6 years of experience. This is 6 years of me doing Unity stuff. So it's not coming from nowhere. Oh wait, this isn't working yet. Oh, yeah. So there is that. My first game. My first game that I tried to make was a Space Invaders thing. Oh, I should also mention. I guess I should also mention this. Before I started Unity stuff, I did learn programming in general beforehand, like a year before, I think. So I've been a game developer for 6 years and a programmer for 7-ish. I started learning programming in the summer between grade 9 and 10. Or like near the end of grade 9, somewhere around there, I think. Yeah, somewhere near the end of grade 9, and mostly like over the summer. And then had my first programming class in school in grade 10. And I only did so well in that class because I had prior knowledge. Like, the class itself was not great. I remember there was like the first unit test. Everyone did really badly, but I did really good and that was only because like I had prior knowledge. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, then I started doing game dev stuff. The first game I tried to make was a Space Invaders remake. Didn't finish that. In fact, well, it's kind of morphed into some other things. Yeah. I could totally like do a big diagram of here's all these projects that I started and never finished, and then here's the projects they became. Where it's like, oh, I'm gonna take this old project and try it again with this new idea, and that's happened a bunch of times, even with this to an extent. But no, I have so many unfinished projects, so many, and then so many ideas that are just conceptual that I haven't even started to make. They're purely in my head that I'd like to make someday. Stuff like that. Yeah, I got like my Space Invaders thing that went from like Space Invaders remake to like a thing where I was gonna play around with like a vehicle that could like change shape, sort of. Not change, well, yeah, sort of. But combine that with like a Space Invaders-y thing, and then I was gonna do like, well, actually no, before that I was gonna do like Space Invaders, but there's layers where it's like you're fighting stuff on this layer, and then you can move forward and backward, and now you're fighting different layers of enemies. But that like had a huge flaw with it, where it was kind of it was not fun. And they had this problem where like there was no incentive or reason to go between layers like unnecessarily, so it kind of just turned into like you kill all the enemies on one layer, you go to the next, you kill all the enemies on this layer, you go to the next. I wanted to try and have like, oh, you keep going back and forth for reasons, but that just didn't work out too well. I had a 3D platformer I was trying to make a long time ago that I guess is the predecessor of this, where the gimmick was going to be that you had 3 characters that you switched between, and they were at different places in the level. She's like, whoosh, I'm over here now playing this guy. Whoosh, I'm over here playing this guy. That went through different phases. At one point, I looked at like just one of the characters in isolation, a cube character, funnily enough. I think the color of that cube was blue, if I remember correctly. That was Project Gamma when that started. Well, Gamma being because Gamma is the 3rd letter of the Greek alphabet, so 3. Ha ha ha! I'm clever with naming things. So many of my names come from things either translated from like Latin or like or Greek in that case, or stuff like that. That didn't pan out. I made a few like demo test levels, then kind of abandoned that project when it was hard for me to design even test levels because I'm really bad at level design. So I'm like, oh, I'll try something else, but simpler. Most of my ideas, it's like, oh, here's this idea that's this really big idea that I can't reasonably finish on my own, or like, yeah, or due to my skill level or whatever. So it's like, let me try again with a smaller project. Whoosh, it just gets equally as big. So yeah, that's that. What are past my bedtime? Gotta go, stay positive. All right, one hit. Well, thanks for dropping by and listening to my rambles. I will finish more games at some point. I do have one game that I did finish, Washed Up Wizard. I'm just not... like, that game also kind of has problems, but it is a finished game, I guess, by technicalities. And I have some Game Jam games that I did. So I guess, like, finishing a game can be subjective, like, how big the game is. Like... in theory, I could call this a finished game where there's not really, like, all you do is move to the right, jump up walls, and it just looks cool visually, and be like, oh, you beat it, you win, woo, I've finished a game. But no, I'm planning to do a lot more with this, and my other ideas that I have. Like one I was thinking about earlier today, cyberspace. Oh, I'll leave you tabbed until my phone died. All right. Oh, thank you. One hit. Appreciate the extra view and all that. But yeah, we'll see you around. But I'm just gonna keep rambling to myself. More people drop by. And the main thing I was hoping to do is there's a lot of bugs in how this currently is. So I need to dissect code that I wrote over a year ago. And try to solve some of them. So, yeah, I'm going to be looking at code that I don't understand. You guys can be seeing code you don't understand, because I want to understand it. And not just that, but I have to dissect through, because this game has changed so many times, but I haven't deleted, like, anything. So even a lot of the old stuff that's, like, all broken and not going to be used, I just haven't deleted it yet. Because, like, I might use part of this. So once this gets back into a more of a stable state, then I might clean out a lot of it, but for now it's not in a stable state. Like mainly how I had, well, one thing is that I had from the video thing I was just showing. In a second, like this 2D level I think still exists, but it doesn't work with like the character in it. You know, doesn't work anymore. I think this 3D test, this level still exists. 75%. Oh, that's your phone battery? Oh wow. Well then, okay, I'll have you as a viewer for a while. Woo! It's very pixely, but I recorded this a long time ago. But this level still exists, but the player doesn't work for it. But eventually, the goal, the idea, would maybe be at like that way of how that looked with the animation. You notice how that cube had some animations, mainly like it kind of jiggled when it ran, it like did like a flip when it jumped. I want to get that back as well. So like I have this scene that has all this art stuff, but then I stripped that away and I'm working in this, or sort of stripped away all the art except for this checker because it looked cool, and it was me experimenting with shader graph stuff because actually this just checker thing, it has a cool property where it does this. It's like actually like, yeah, it does this, and it's cool. This is just a test thing. I don't know if the actual game would have something like this, but probably not. I'm hoping for more, not real-looking environments, but like this is just platforms in the sky. I'm hoping more for like, this level's a forest. This level's a underground thing, stuff like that. It's like an actual like place, even if it is still abstracty, low poly or whatever. Like how the other thing that I just had up was like a city, stuff like that. I still have grass that has this checkered thing, but then I'm kind of leaning towards like Green Hill Zone kind of thing, which I don't think is what I'm going for. I'd go for more like actual dirt and grass. But anyways, so this scene I was working on sort of in isolation, just to play around with this idea and now the character stuff. And then once this is working, then I want to sort of fuse it with the other stuff and maybe build a new test level, because that other test level also changed. Like I need to change because at that point in time the players' abilities were different, so I've changed them, which messes with things. I think that level is now unbeatable because originally the cube was gonna have a crouch, and I got rid of the crouch because I did. I don't know if I am gonna, to some extent, continue to balance the character's abilities. There's definitely one thing I need to do. The cube has a glitch I need to ideally get rid of, where you can infinitely... You kidding me? No. The cube, it thinks it's the sphere. The cube shouldn't be able to do that. Oh, why is it broken? It's so broken. It's so broken. It's so broken. Okay, so like the idea. So again, another thing of catch up is about, or recap. I mean, yeah, the main gimmick of this game. I can still kind of play it if just the abilities don't work, and sometimes the jumping doesn't work. But the main idea, as you can see, there's these tears in reality, which is cool, and they don't all have to be bubbles. Basically, like it can be any model that I make that is the sort of cut kind of thing. In this test level, I've used spheres and cubes, but they can be whatever weird shape I need for the sake of the level. So hopefully I make more cool, complex things. Maybe like things that actually look more like cuts and tears, like whatever. More abstract-y shapes, basically, would be cool. But the main gimmick is this. This is the gimmick of the game. Take this, do cool things with it, where as you cross sides, you switch character, and depending on what character you are, you have different abilities. So both of them can jump, obviously move and interact with things, but the cube can wall jump, the cube can dash through the air. That's an unlocked ability. You don't start with that. Actually, you don't start with any abilities, so they both start basically being the same. But the cube unlocks a wall jump, a dash, be able to dash through the air, and then sort of upgrade to the dash that's like, if you dash into a wall, you launch up the wall, which leads to a pretty satisfying combo that I would be able to test if this wasn't broken. If I can get around this, then... No, I barely touched it. What? Wait, I can't move at all now? That's a new bug. Oh, no, fun. Why did that... Okay, this was more stable before. I kind of made things worse. Whatever. I'll hopefully be able to figure it out. Yeah, I think... Because the dash sort of messes with your movement to make the dash work. I think because I switched characters in mid-dash, or right as the dash was ending, it broke things. I don't know. But anyways... But then the cube has a thing where you can dash into the wall and launch up the wall, which leads to the satisfying combo of jump, dash into a wall, up the wall, jump off the wall, and dash again. I don't know, it's a satisfying combo. Or just basically dashing into a wall and then wall jumping off of it. It's cool. But that can lead to an infinite height glitch that I need to combat. I think I basically need to make it so that if you jump off a wall, you cannot dash in that direction until you hit the ground or something. Or if you made wall jump again. But I think that's what that would fix that. The ability to be able to jump and then dash back into the same wall leads to an infinite height up walls thing. I mean, I could intentionally have that be a mechanic, but I don't think I want that. I don't think I want you to be able to scale walls endlessly. That would make the cube too overpowered. One thing I'm trying to do is make it so that both characters are as balanced as they can be. They're both equally as fun. Although I think right now the cube's a little better, just because of a little better because of the dash wall jump stuff, but that's dependent on there being walls, I suppose. Whereas the sphere can hover, so that doesn't require walls, like a certain thing of an environment to come up. But the sphere can like glide, and so to cross long gaps, I guess, slow descent kind of thing, and bounce like or slam into the ground. The next ability, yes, slamming into the ground, which can slam through stuff, like I don't know, cracked floor, smash through it, or glass or something. Maybe like a rusty button, you have to smash into it to press it, stuff like that, or just other things that you activate by smashing into them, or like enemies that works as an attack. And then the upgrade to that is upgrading it to not just slam and you hit the ground and that's it, but upgrading it to a bounce. So when you slam into the ground, you bounce up at, I'd actually forget if it's a consistent height or an equal height. I think right now it's a consistent height of like that you bounce up to. I might upgrade that to like, or I might change it to be like whatever height you were when you slammed, you kind of bounce roughly up to that height, so that if you could jump off like a really tall thing, bounce like slam, and you go up that high, like cause that could work for some platformy stuff, maybe. I'd have to play around with it, but the bounce can be used as like a high jump effectively to go higher than like a normal jump will take you. And also the whole slamming into things, and it's a balls bounce. So that's that. And I think that's it. Those are the abilities. It was hard to come up with abilities that were kind of balanced. I might tweak them more, but that's just kind of what I have right now. Because the idea was to kind of keep them similar. Was first they have, in addition to their jump, some sort of addition to their jump. So like the cube can wall jump and the sphere can glide. Those are additions to the space bar. No additional buttons required there. Next thing is an actual ability. Press this button to do something. Both of them are kind of meant to be used in the air. Yeah, you can use the dash on the ground, so it's like just moving faster. But so the cube dashes and the sphere slams. And those are both movement things. Like one goes forward, one's horizontal, one's vertical. And then the next thing is an upgrade to that thing, where one, it's like you can if you dash into a wall, you launch up the wall. That's the best thing I could think of for that. And then with the ball, because then that also helps with the wall jump, so it has some rippling effects there, and it's just kind of satisfying to do. And then the sphere, it's turned the smash thing into a bounce. That was the best thing I could think of there. What's an upgrade to the slam? I was thinking maybe like the slam could make like a shockwave or something, but that doesn't seem very useful. Like a shockwave would be used like if there's something to do that on. So it's more like an extra interacty thing, whereas the bounce is more of a movement thing, which is what I wanted there. So yeah. That was my was my thought process, but behind making those abilities. But that went through many iterations. Like at one point, it was like instead of an air dash going vertical or horizontal, being able to dash in like any direction. Another like at one point, like one character could like throw a projectile. At one point, I had crouching as an ability. So like this stuff has gone through a lot of iterations. But I think I'm happy with where it is now to a degree. So yeah, but I mean, except for the fact that it's broken. Conceptually, I'm happy with it. But yeah. So and then yeah, plans might change also as I make more stuff in the levels to interact with, like how you use the abilities, like what things in the levels you interact with. But anyway, so that's okay. That's enough rambling for me. So another thing I didn't even mention, but the fact that these these tears are kind of broken in the scene view. But it's okay in theory because it works in the game view, so it's fine. This would fix itself if I could somehow get like the game camera to follow the scene view camera and match its position. That would fix this in theory, but I experimented with doing that. It didn't really work. Or it would like mess up stuff with the actual game view itself. So it's fine. I can deal with it for now. Because also, I mean, I can switch to what the other side looks like very easily. Wait, no, I forget how to actually do it. So first of all, explanation on how this whole tearing thing works. It used to work based on some color swapping. I actually recently, like yesterday or the day before, got it to not do that, so that was cool. I would have otherwise been prevented from using a pure magenta color anywhere in the game. Now, the cube is like a magenta, but it's not like pure magenta, and there was a difference there.
But now it's not based on colored pixel swapping, so that's good. So essentially what happens is first I choose a main side and alternate side. So right now the main side is the blue, or the main side is the green with the blue skybox, and the alternate thing is the blue with the more orangey skybox. And those actual level environment things are under my environment thing here. Everything here under cube is for the cube's version of the level. Everything under sphere is for the sphere's version of the level. If I do stuff where I want there to be something that's seen by both, that's going to go under both. Then on the camera, where's the camera? Why can't I find the camera? That's not any of this. This. I don't know why are you so low? Okay, in the order here. I'll move you up to the top. So I'm actually using 3 cameras to achieve what I'm trying to achieve, which isn't great on performance probably, but they are if it helps. There's three cameras in the exact same place, but they render different things. So yeah, I need 3 cameras here. The main one that is rendering what is effectively the end result, what you're seeing here. The alternate camera that just renders to a render texture, and revert render texture, which just renders to a render texture. Now, I can actually explain this better with an image that I have when I was first coming up with this idea to conceptually show like what each camera is seeing. This was done through Photoshop initially. So initially, the idea was camera A is seeing, 3 cameras, essentially. One is seeing this, one is seeing this, one is seeing this. These two are almost the same, except this one has what is the tear objects, the substitute object, that is a pure color. Actually, when I implemented it, I made it like a pure magenta, because I'm like, oh, what's a color that's like not really going to be in the game? Other than the player, but like if I'm going for more naturally colors, like pure bright magenta was less likely to be a thing. And also that pure magenta is different from this. Like it was able to discern between like if this was a pure magenta and this is like close but not completely all the way up. So there was that. And essentially what I wanted was, so essentially what happens is this is the camera that what the player sees. So this goes to a render texture. This goes to a render texture. Then this one, it's rendering what it sees. So it's not rendering this. It's rendering like normal. But then whenever there's a pixel that is exactly the color I'm testing with, so this being red, but in actuality was magenta, swap out that pixel for the equivalently placed pixel of this one's render texture. And do that, and then bam, you got this cutout. The outline's a different thing. I'll get to that. But that was the initial thing. Now, why do we have this? You may have noticed that I didn't mention using this one. Well, that was to be able to have a swapping back if I basically wanted to have a tear in a tear, which I actually do use right here and up at the top right of the level, just to have more options there. Now, right now, this only supports being able to have tears that are sort of 2 levels deep. It's not recursive and endless. The more deep I want to go, the more cameras I need. Potentially, but and way more complexity. But right now, I think 2 should be good. I think I can handle that. And that's a per level like thing. I'm planning for the levels to be on the smaller side, but then there'd be a lot of them, rather than like a few huge levels. That's the idea anyway. That at least also could help performance to some extent, like less stuff in one level can probably help with that. But anyways, so. If you imagine in here, actually I need 4 images for this idea. So there's these red thing in version 1 of this, in the main version, there's these red spheres that say like this is a place to do the swapping thing. But then also in this one, having a different color of sphere and saying this is a place to swap back. And then basically when it's going through this, and it sees the color, and it swaps it for the equivalent color of this render texture, then when it's going through that one, if it sees a color of the swap back thing, then it swaps it for this one. So that's how it goes 2 levels deep. And it's complicated, but it worked. that's what I had as of like yesterday. I've now changed it where an object, it's not on the camera, it's actually the objects themselves. No, I'm an object that means, swap. So it's not a color dependent thing. It's just here's a sphere. It doesn't matter what color it is. It doesn't really have a color. It's just a sphere that on the sphere it has this thing that essentially says. So all of this. Okay, all of this. Ignore all this out on the outside. This is all experimenting. If you're not familiar with shader graph stuff, this does nothing right now. This does nothing right now. This was an old attempt at doing outline stuff that I just never deleted, but I probably will eventually. I'll also just move that there. Okay. So this is just doing the shakiness, so we're going to ignore that for right now. I don't even need this anymore, because again, it just does not have a color. Actually, I'm going to delete that. It doesn't even have an outline anymore either. Like, it doesn't have an outline color either, but I will offset. I won't delete that yet, but I will eventually. Okay, so... Right, yeah. Okay. So then this thing takes in a render texture. So right now it's basically taking in the render texture of the other side, which I can go and grab here. That's what this is currently seeing. This is the render texture of the other side. Oh yeah, that one's actually getting it's doing its own swap thing. So see here, two render textures, this one and this one. This one's actually, this little cut here is from this one, actually. So basically what it's doing is it's rendering what the camera sees, but when it comes across this object, it replaces that pixel with the pixel from this render texture instead of whatever pixel color it was going to render normally. And he does that with this whole screen position thing and sampling the texture and all that stuff. So yeah, that's how that works, and it's cool. Now the outline is a similar thing. Actually, where are you? Trying to find my clipping objects. That's it. Okay. So main clipping is all the ones that are I'm gonna say swapping from A to B, and this is the ones that's swapping back. So this should look identical. Yeah. See this? Wait, it doesn't even have an outline. Interesting. Oh no, that makes sense that it doesn't. Okay. So this is for what I'm calling, the main clipping. This is the revert one. See how that works? These are the ones for going back on itself. So I can have this like tear within a tear thing. It could just help with level design, make it less restrictive. I can also do cool stuff like this, where mid-level, I can do this. I can move it. I can have these objects move around mid-level. How cool is that? And I think this could lend itself to some cool level design opportunities where you have to sort of follow the moving thing, make sure you stay inside of it so that you are the character you need to be to do a certain ability. Stuff like that. Or staying out of it, avoiding it so that it doesn't make you become the character that you don't want to be at that time. So that's a cool thing that is able to happen because of the inside out thing. Yeah. So eventually, this comes down to render textures, where, the color of whatever color it's going to be gets swapped out using the color that's on the render texture, and that's how that works. Now, on a level by level basis, I can also swap what is considered the main side. Now, I haven't done this in a while, but there is a way for me to make to invert this essentially, and I believe it's just a matter of changing the culling mask. So I'm probably going to undo this in a second, but let's say that, I want to swap it so that the orange and the blue and orange background, like skybox, that's considered the main side, and then it's swapping to the cube side. So let's see how easy this is to change. What would be cool is if I could change this through code, because then I could have in-game, in a level, you press a button and then it flips everything. That would be a cool level thing. But for now, it's not doing that. So first I change that, and then on alternate render texture, I believe I basically just flip these. Oh no, that was not it, was it? Oh, yeah, the revert one doesn't render either of them. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm swapping the wrong thing. My bad. Okay, I actually have to change. I think I just have to swap cube to sphere. There we go. So this is actually, oh, this is interesting. This is making it so that the main camera isn't rendering anything other than the skybox, except for whatever's in a tear. That could be interesting potentially. Although I mean that's the same as just having that'd be the same as just not having these cubes here in the first place. But yeah, bam, it's on the sphere side. And I think I have to just do the same for this. So change sphere to cube. Change sphere to cube. Bam, it's inverted. Except for the skyboxes. Because, well, right now the skybox is this. Like, each camera's using its own thing. It just happens to be that this one and this one are the same. So I would have to swap out. Right now it's using a color. If it had an actual skybox, then it would just be swapping the skyboxes or whatever. But I couldn't do that. I'm just not doing it now. And that also... Oh, wait. That doesn't immediately make it work in gameplay. Other than the bugs that are currently happening. To then make that work in gameplay, I then have to just change switch trigger to say main side is sphere. And now... Yeah, if I can... Yeah, there we go. Okay, the bouncing is also not working. But other than some things breaking, like how I just lost the ability to jump for some reason, there we go. That's how easy it is to switch it so that the ball is the main side and the cube's the inner side. And then inner to inner is the ball. So bam. So in theory, I could potentially get that to happen with code. I'm not going to do that right now because I got a million other things to worry about first. Okay. So that's that explanation. There's also me reminding myself about how a lot of this works because, again, a lot of this is code I haven't touched in like a year, other than yesterday when I was making this happen. Now, on each clipping object, it actually has the outline as its own object underneath, just for visual flair. So essentially, like the outline, it's just a black, it's just a copy of the mesh, but black, and doing this effect while also being scaled out a little bit more than this one. So that's all that's happening there. I couldn't find a good way to have this all on one object, and my attempts at doing so just made it look a lot worse. So for now, unless I find a better way of doing this, yeah, each object has a child object in the same position that is its outline. I could also do a lot more just eventually to make the outline itself look better. Like I was experimenting with, I think I can put this back in here. Is this gonna work? No, I mean, one, I can make it a color. That's not what I meant to do. Where is... there's a bunch of just different things I was experimenting with at different points in time. Where is... You're not what I'm looking for. Hold on. And actually, if I change this to lit, ignore how the inner one breaks. That's not all. Okay, I'm not doing the things I need to be doing. Let me just undo before I break stuff. But I was gonna play around with maybe having this be like two colors that kind of like swoosh between each other. Maybe like a more. I was experimenting with green, so I could easily notice the change, but probably more so like a purple and black or something like that. It's important for the story that it's mostly black, but yeah. Anyway. That's something I can play around more with later. It's fine for now. The one problem is this, and maybe this not being the same thickness, but it's good enough for now. It's better than it was before. I like this more than how it looked without the swooshalness. I don't know how I'd remove this, but I can play around with it. I mean, this is only a problem when there's an inner thing in an inner thing. Like the minute that I have this not part of that, it's not a problem. This is a rare problem, but it'd still be nice if it wasn't there. Yeah, this is only a problem when I have an inner thing that's touching the edges of an outer thing. And if I really wanted this, and this is just how this looked, I could make a single mesh that was shaped somewhat like this, and then that would do the job without it having this part. Except actually, that for the clipping objects to work in regards to how you switch back and forth character-wise, I need them all to have trigger colliders. Which means they have to be convex, because that's how... Or no, to be mesh colliders, they have to be convex to be his trigger. So if I were to make this out of non-primitive things, and maybe I could do it. It also is a 2.5D platformer, so I have more leeway there. So that is something I could play around with in theory, but I think for the most part I'll just use mesh colliders and wait until the moment arises. I mean, for now, I don't even need, this doesn't even need to be a mesh collider. It could just have been a sphere collider, but whatever. It works. The outline ones don't have those, right? Yeah, okay. Wait, right? Let me double check something now that I'm thinking about it. The outlines, I didn't accidentally give any of them. Oh, I did. Oh, that's going to cause problems. Right. The inner things are not supposed to have those trigger colliders. You have two? What if you didn't? Yeah, that's okay. Let me double check all my things now that I've noticed that. Yeah, none of the outlines should have those trigger colliders. Okay. Oh, why do you have... Also, none of these should be casting any shadows. So let me fix that too. Unless I really want them to, but I don't. Okay. This is... Yeah, okay, it's fine. Alright, if I do this and then this... Yeah, there you go. I also made it so that I can't select the outlines, so if I just wanted to grab and move this, it just makes it easier to select the thing I want to. So, yeah, that's cool. Anyways, how about enough yapping and more actually doing things? So on my list of things to fix, because right now this kind of works, but it's really buggy, where it breaks a lot of the time. So I have two things on my agenda, I guess, for fixing. One is, there's multiple different areas of bugs. One, I'm concerned with the fact that sometimes when switching, there's some bug that eventually causes me to not be able to jump. So that's a very important thing to fix, I think. It'd be nice if I could find a more consistent way of doing it. Actually, I think I did have a consistent way where if I hold space here and fall, now suddenly I can't jump. So yeah, there's consistency. So there's either problems with... right now it does know that I am the cube, because sometimes there's problems where I switch side and it's it thinks I'm still the cube, or now it thinks I'm the ball, and that's a problem that sometimes arises. And also, so that's one problem, and I'm going to divide that into two categories. Bugs when I use abilities, and I'm in the middle of using an ability when I cross sides, and just bugs that aren't that, the jumping thing, where I was just jumping, wasn't using ability. Actually, I guess I was hovering as the sphere, and that may have been part of the problem. Yeah, having that be better, fixing that. And then third area of bug was, what was it? I had a third thing I was going to say, and now I'm forgetting what it was. It was an important thing, I think. What was it? I had another thing I was going to fix. What was it? Oh, no. Was it with characters? Wait, no. What? Wait, let me go back and play mode so I can remind myself what it was. I don't remember. I had a third thing where it's I'm going to do some... Oh, I can't wall jump now. What? Do you... Oh, I remember now. Okay, right. With the third thing was just with the sphere, the bounce is broken for some reason, and I'm trying to figure out why. Where this is not how the bounce is supposed to behave. And what's weird is that I swear that it worked before, but then when I was looking at the code, I'm how was this ever working? But I'm pretty sure it was working before, so now I need to get it to work. What's supposed to happen is that you bounce back up to a normal height. Huta doesn't look so like that. So that I also need to figure out. And that's isolated to the sphere. So don't know which I should do first, which would be better. Let me just open up a script so that Visual Studios can be working in the background. So the thing that's breaking my jumps, I think, is going to take the highest priority. One thing is that the abilities themselves are going to be unlocked later in the game. So let me do something real quick. Like you're going to start off with no abilities and then slowly unlock them. But like, yeah, not being able to jump sometimes sounds like a big issue. Yeah, no. Actually, I'm going to go back even further because I think that I saw there was another whole issue. One thing that's supposed to be a mechanic. Why? I can't jump still. Okay. It's something with the gliding, maybe. I don't know. I think that's supposed to happen. That is like part of a big point of this is that when you're on a side that you can't see, like the collision's not supposed to be there. Like right now, because like when I'm on top of this, it's like, yeah, the sphere is intersecting with this blue platform. But the second I leave it, the sphere's collider is supposed to be disabled. Whichever character you currently are, that character's collider is supposed to go away, essentially. Be disabled. So right now, only the cube's collider should be active, but the sphere's collider should not be. And as a result of that, I should be falling, but I'm not. And then the same thing should happen here with the ball, where the ball should actually fall through this platform, and that's a thing, because then that also introduces itself to more mechanics, where if this thing was like moving back and forth, and you have to time it so you fall through the thing at the right time. That's another thing I would like to have happen. So I think actually that feels like it might be a bit easier to debug, because it's a collider issue. In fact, I don't know if I properly set up the collision matrix to get what I just said to happen. So I may have just thought that I programmed that thing, but I actually didn't. So in scene view, like go like this. So right now the cube's collider should be gone. Should be, yeah, inactive, which it is. And the sphere's collider is active, which is what's supposed to happen. There's a separate switch trigger object that is for detecting the switches, but yeah, that's still in progress. But I mean, it worked kind of. It kind of works. Like right now, it does think that we are the sphere. Yeah. One thing I've also done is that actually, yeah, as you can see, the cube and the sphere share a lot of stuff. Like I have this parent game object that's the actual thing that's moving around and doing the abilities. Where as child objects, I essentially have like the cube model and the sphere model. Well, with their own colliders, because sphere and cube. But yeah, this was done on purpose. Initially, they did move independently, but it was like it's very important that they stay in sync. That we don't get this discrepancy where like they start to like separate and that causes problems. So make sure that never happens. Is that it's not actually two separate things moving. It is a single thing moving. That how you're viewing it, how you're seeing it is what's different. So yeah, they share a lot of stuff. Even with the abilities stuff, because essentially all that's important for is changing stuff with the rigid body. So yeah, I mean in theory I could have the abilities on the actual individual things, but no. Yeah, so we have the player input and like the buttons. So player, so everything that's prefixed with player is stuff that's used for both of them. So I have everything used for both of them, and then all the cube related stuff, and then all the sphere related stuff. No reason why that's the order; it just was. I think when I started this, I literally did a coin flip. All right, do I start doing sphere stuff or cube stuff? Twa, and it landed on cube. No. I remember now. I specifically drew on a I was like, I need to make this decision. There was an eraser beside me. I grabbed it and on one side drew a cube and the other side, or like a square. On the other side drew a circle and then tossed it up in the air and it landed cube side up. So yeah, that was my decision making process on what to start first. Yeah. Okay. So I mean there was a lot of back and forth between them, but yeah. Yeah, okay, so which of the right. So I think I just don't have the collision-y stuff working. So right now the cube player is on layer cube, the sphere player is on layer sphere. What about the environments? The environment stuff. Oh, you're totally not set up. Oh yeah. Oh wait, no. You can be, or you might be actually. Hold on. So yeah, everything sphere related. In fact, I'm actually going to do that on the parent game object too because it should be. Everything sphere related is on the has that sphere layer, everything cube related has the cube layer. And then, all right, yeah, I didn't see that. Okay. But now if I were to go to the physics settings, wherever those are, not here. I go to the physics settings. This is going to go down here with all these other things I have open that I could probably close at some point. Okay, so I want to change... I didn't change the collision matrix. Of course that's not working. Let me go out of play mode before I do change this stuff. Okay. In fact, the changes I literally just made here aren't going to actually happen. Okay. All right, so that didn't change anything inherently, though, because that was just the parent game object that I was changing. So what I want is that cube and sphere do not interact with each other. Cube stuff and sphere stuff do not interact. Yeah. Okay, so... Right, did I get rid of the environment layer of being a thing? I had an environment layer. That's not in play right now. Right, forgot about that, so I can get rid of that at some point. So now... Oh, okay, I am falling there. If you noticed, I'm falling... Ooh, that's not good. Oh, no. That's not... I mean, okay, one thing... interesting. And once again, I cannot jump. I mean, this is cool, just because I know there's a collide there. Like, that's kind of cool. Okay, so this might not be as easy as I thought. So one thing that I can tell is happening: the falling super slow is a symptom of the game not thinking that I've left the ground. In fact, one thing I noticed before is that, so I'm not using, like, rigid body gravity. Like, I have that much. Like, I have use gravity checked and there. But that falling is only because of rigid body gravity, but also with a lot of vector or velocity overrides. But, yeah. One thing I did, I discovered it once again when I was going through this. I'm not sure why I did, but I can kind of see my rationale as something I was just trying. But I don't know if it's going to be a problem later. Is just that... So I wanted to move these players through rigid body stuff for the benefits of collision and... for the benefits of, like, yeah, collision and... basically that physicsy stuff you get out of that, but not so much the actual pushing stuff with physicsy forces. So what I basically did is I'm essentially at the beginning of a frame I get this combined velocity, I set it to 0, I do all these calculations that set the velocity where none of these, like the dashing and I think jumping and moving, none of these have an like rigid body.add force or anything. It's just, yeah, setting these numbers and doing all that. And then by the end of this, first of all, I make the Z1 always 0 because there shouldn't be any movement forward and back. It should never get set to not be 0, but this is just like a fail-safe, essentially. And then I just set the velocity equal to that. So every frame I'm setting the velocity, which usually isn't a great thing to do. But in my case, it's because I'm basically trying to almost like move the object manually, but get the benefits of collision. Where if you just go like transform.position or even rb.move position, that can have problems with going through objects if you're at high enough speeds. So that's something I was trying to prevent and such. I did this. Instead of using like rb.add force. So yeah, this was something. So I'm not even really using gravity. Gravity could be off for all I care. And I'm not using it. In fact, I might actually turn it off because it's doing so little. Like I might not want it to effectively be a thing. Now, me turning it off right there isn't going to do a thing because I have places in code where I'm setting it to true or false, mainly when we leave and enter the ground. Now, I do also have there's code somewhere that is ground detection of like when we leave the ground, set us to start like falling. Because I mean, one thing I could do is even when you're in contact with the ground, apply a downward force. And essentially, I think I do apply a little bit, but I essentially don't need to. Like I don't need to be applying force downwards when we're on the ground. I only need to apply downward force when we leave the ground. And that works better to apply. So when we leave the ground, instead of having this, and the second we leave the ground, we drop like really fast because, oh, well, that downwards force, like, it's like is being applied. Instead of that, having it only start to apply that downward force when we leave the ground. And notice, I say force is putting into a velocity change. A force because we are like decreasing or increasing in a negative way how much force or how much this velocity is changing. This fall amount, it keeps applying. It's more and more and more depending on I believe how fast we're falling or whatever, or like how much we fall in. Like yeah, it does stuff there. So rather than doing this, we want to like right when we leave the ground have that zero, that little bit of a cushion to whoosh, to not sink like a rock as much. Yeah, so that's why I don't apply force downwards always. Well, maybe I could if I did it differently, where I am still applying this tiny force. Yeah, actually, I don't know why that isn't happening necessarily, but yeah, anyway. Oh, there was a turn thing. This code isn't in here anymore, right? Yeah. There's a lot of old code that's like, I have a whole folder of like old player main, old player whatever, because I used to do all this very differently. Because I fundamentally changed the gameplay, essentially. Yeah. But, oh, yeah, the other thing that I wanted, you'll notice here that basically most of these other scripts, they don't really have their own update functions to have very direct control over the order that these different things are being called, rather than them all having their own like update loops or whatever. Player main handles it all. Player main calls all of those things, what is essentially like their equivalent of update. Like this player move.move is essentially player moves update, but then it returns something. So I did that to also have more control over what's being called where, sort of doing it all in one place. And it also has the added benefit where if I want to disable everything with the player, I only need to disable this one script. Like if an enemy or like if the player gets stunned or like a game manager at like the start or the end of a level, if it wants to stop the player from moving without actually like deleting the player or going game object.set active false, because I might still want to see the player model, but just have them stop moving, then I can just turn off this one script. So that helps. Now, of course, this causes problems where like they might freeze in midair, which I might not want. So I might do like some more controlled stopping where it's like stop movement, but they keep falling or whatever. Where actually for that, I might specifically take hold of the player input script. That's what is getting input and just kind of stop that. So that's benefits of that. So that is an option I have. Yeah. So with that, where to begin? Where to begin? So I wanted to solve the problem of the whole falling thing. And actually I think part of that was going to be that I'm going to get rid of how I want to get rid of the use gravity thing. Please use gravity. And I think the best way I can do that is just go current project. I search for wherever it's being used and get rid of it. I mean, like I could in theory have more physics stuff. I don't remember why. I think I wanted more control over it in this scenario to be able to have more control over it, as I just said. Yeah, so I'm gonna because I don't necessarily want it to move in like a physically accurate way. Like I'm talking about my characters here. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna just everywhere where I have essentially this line, this whole use gravity stuff, I'm gonna get rid of it everywhere. And yeah, first of all, it's deleting a lot of lines, and like again, this gravity was not doing much. It was barely doing anything. That very slow, tiny falling, that's what use gravity was doing. So I don't need it. I have other ways to essentially disable gravity. I have a whole variable that is effectively whether or not we fall. Old player jump. I'm not gonna touch this. This is old code. I need to Although I'm going to need to sort of filter through all the old code to get to the new code. So anything with old in the front, I'm not touching. Because it's to be deleted, effectively. But just haven't yet because... Oops. Oh, I think I did that on accident. Yep, okay. Okay, so this is the cube's dash launch. Okay. Cube's wall jump. Cube's wall jump. Okay, I was about to say cube wall jump, only use it in one place. It's like, yeah. Usually it's used twice. It's like to stop it in one place and to start it in another. So yeah, is grounded is all that's really what matters there. Follow fall. Oh, this is the tether moving. Oh, well, interesting. This is something old as well, but I will. I'm gonna finish this one off, but I don't know if I'm gonna use this code at all. This was, yeah, remnants of an old thing. Am I making a mistake with what I'm doing here? I actually don't want to be doing this. Hold on, let me actually undo this. You know, I change my mind. I think this one is more dependent on needing gravity with how it's using it. No, nothing more. So I've gotten rid of it everywhere, except in these old things. Okay. I mean, it makes sense. Not a lot of things use it, because it's like for the ground detection, for anything that needs to like temporarily stop us from falling, and there was also other code usually with it that was also handling some of that. So just to double check that I haven't missed anything, and to that at least that part is working how I expect. So we're still gonna have the same problem, and in fact, it's gonna be ever so slightly worse, but it's for the greater good. So first of all, normal jumping and falling, still exactly the same. Looks identical. If anything, we do fall like the tiniest bit slower in a way that you do not really notice. So now doing this should have me be like fully, yeah, straight. Like not falling at all. Or if I am falling, it's the tiniest bit. Yeah, no, it's not at all. Okay. So now what's happening is just, it's never, it's not realizing that we should not be considered to be on the ground when it's switching back and forth. It does like normally when we leave the ground, it's like, yeah, we're not on the ground. That's something that we want to happen. So I mean, I could potentially like make it so that like if even if we're on ground, it's applying a downward force constantly. Yeah, that would potentially do this. But that's not going to solve our problem entirely, because we still just have the problem that is the character doesn't think that it's grounded, which could be a problem when it comes to jumping. So, and jumping, falling. Actually, interestingly enough, oh no, I can't jump here. Okay, well, still have this separate jump problem. Whoa, why did that still not fix it? Huh. Interesting. That's still like its own problem to fix, but yeah, you see there how I was able to jump? Okay, I'll figure that out in a moment. Yeah, okay. I have a feeling like the sphere's glide is doing something with it, because when I hold space, it glides. I don't know if that's it, but it's something along the lines of it. Oh yeah, I also never mentioned that I can do this to be able to actually see the objects of one side versus another, so that's how I can do that. Oh, the spheres are slightly out of, not in the right spot. I know, that's fine. The idea as well, by the way, is to make it so that the two slides like look a lot more different graphically, as in like one will be like a forest in fall, and the other side will be like a forest in spring, and you know, look wildly different. I'm also going to close some of these. I might not touch these for a while, so I'm going to close them for now. Keep that like that, I guess. I'm not yeah, that's fine. I'm going to go like this. Okay. So, what was I doing now? I need to get better ground detection when we switch sides. That's currently an issue. And hopefully this can be a thing when we're solving one issue solves all of them. So, okay. So part of the problem comes from the whole swapping out colliders thing, turning on and off colliders and trying to have that not break everything. So when so by start they are both active. So we got a sphere collider that's the sphere, and the cube collider that's the cube. Depending on what side version we're supposed to be, we are turning on or off one of the colliders. I was considering that this might actually be a good idea for the future. Is that if we're on an edge like this, halfway between, then actually just have both active in that time. But I don't know how to actually detect this right now. Right now I have it based on trigger enter and on trigger exits, where whatever thing we currently are, when we enter the collider of this, then we switch to the other one. Like we know what is considered the main one and what's considered the alternate one. So right now cube's the outside, cube's the main, and spheres inside, spheres the alternate. So on trigger enter, switch to the sphere. On trigger exit, switch to the cube. That's currently how that's being done. There's the inner one, then doing the opposite of that. But definitely, like, being on the edge can cause a problem. If you're moving fast enough, then you probably won't really notice. But I can see it potentially causing problems. Because right now, the sphere one would be active and the cube one would not be. So the cube currently would not be interacting with anything on the cube side, which could be a problem. It is maybe not something that I want. Yeah. Now, I'm now realizing that we might have a problem when it comes to, like, these guys. Because I'm just realizing that, like, we might have some really wonky behavior that I wasn't really anticipating when we fall through an object like this. So falling directly through is fine, but I guess I didn't really take into account what happens when you touch the edge of this. Like, if we are here and the sphere collider is on and the cube collider is off, and the cube collider is what's intersecting with the green, so only the cube collider and the green can hit each other. The second that I do this, and if we now have the cube collider being active, like, the ideal scenario would be that we just, like, slam against this and we can't, like, it stops us from doing that. But I am now realizing that might be harder to get to actually happen. Because I think the minute that we touch this, it's going to snap us to the outside. Because, like, these things are intersecting. Let's cut that out. So I might need a better way to get this kind of thing to happen, which is a bit of a concern. In this specific scenario, I don't know how much this scenario is going to come up, but it would be really cool to be able to, fall through like this. And again, it works perfectly fine going through the middle. As long as you don't touch the edge while you're going through, then it doesn't get wonky. But I don't know how to prevent that necessarily, unless... I could cheat it. I could cheat it by, even though it doesn't look like there's anything intersecting here, have in this case, it'd be like one of the blue platforms here that you can't see. So that would stop the sphere from sort of leaving. And if this was a thing that was moving back and forth, maybe I'd cheat it by putting blue things that move with this. Interesting. Okay. I can see that idea, well, maybe not ideal. I could see that, like, working in theory. Okay, so yeah, so then the going back to the other problem for now, maybe I think of a better solution. I have to research more into that kind of stuff. Definitely a lot of what I'm trying to do is very unorthodox, so it's difficult to find good resources to do some of this stuff. But yeah, so the next thing I guess would be, do I want, when you're on an edge like this, for both to be considered active. And if both are active, what happens when you go to use an ability? Does it use the spheres? Does it use the cubes? How does that work? Is this considered to be in a state of both? That seems a little also strange, because then there might be like, I don't know, some ambiguity to it. I'd almost think that like, I mean, it could be like whatever you were. Well, let's see. If you were a cube, if you are the cube currently, and you do this, and then you press your ability button, what would you, as the player, as the user, expect to happen? Would you expect to dash as the cube, or to slam as the sphere, or some arbitrary third thing? Because I could do it based on either it's a consistent whatever is the inner one, always prefer that one, or always prefer the outer one, or whichever one you were last, hold on to that one. So because we were the cube, in this state of time, at this point in time, continue basically being the cube until we fully crossed over, and then now do sphere stuff. And then likewise, and then going out, we're the sphere, and we continue being the sphere until we're fully outside, and then we become the cube. Or I do it based on whatever we're entering. So then cube, we're sphere now the second that happens. And then the moment we're exiting, then we're considered the cube. All that's great in theory, but like through code, I have no idea. See, like part of doing that would involve being able to say, are we on the edge of an object? Of the collider of this. Like, this isn't just an on-trigger enter, on-trigger exit kind of scenario, or even an on-trigger stay. Because I'm basically trying to say, like, how do we detect the difference between this currently, well, let's say with the cube's collider, how would we detect the difference between this and being fully inside? And keeping in mind the fact that this isn't just a sphere, it could conceivably be any shape. Now, there's a bit of a buffer. I'm not asking to like be able to know with all the bumpiness going on to detect that, but pretending that this is like, effectively like whatever the collider has, which is before, like the waviness is a visual thing. It's probably better for the actual what counts for switching to be more consistent and not be like slightly weird based on how this is doing. I don't know. Right? I'm thinking out loud, effectively, hoping to come across like what would be the better thing to do. I mean, there's a difference between what is the better thing to do and what can I actually program. I don't know how you can detect, or if it's possible to detect, like, are we on the edge of a collider? I think that's a thing in like 2D stuff, which is kind of like it's a 2.5D thing. But I wonder if I can do Unity. Edge of collider. And in theory, I would like a solution that's both 3D. Why are you being so slow to load? I don't even know what else. An edge collider is a thing, but that is for 2D stuff. Which, in theory, I could make this actually be like, because it is 2D with 3D graphics essentially. So I can make everything be actually using 2D colliders, but I'd rather not. I'd rather let it be more three-dimensional, even code-wise. Because that means that I also have to change it to a rigid body 2D. Well, because I could potentially play around with actual movement forward and backwards in the like the plane of how you're moving. I could play around with that to some degree, and that could be kind of cool. Kind of like Sonic Generations does that a bit. Actually, does it quite a lot a bit. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I can play around with it. And I'm an object, but that idea doesn't really work if I have 2D colliders. So, um, see, ideally also, hmm. Hmm. Okay, I might just have to kind of leave it how it is for now, and not have the whole both thing. I maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. That is more of a nice thing to have, but not really required. What is? Oh, oops. Yeah. Okay. You guys are supposed to move together. So I could just have it how it is now. Basically, where on collision enter you become the thing, on collision exit you become the outside thing. That's how I currently have it set up because that was just easiest to program. And also having an on collision stay running every frame with this probably wouldn't be ideal. I mean, if it's on the player, maybe it's not that bad, but it'd be it's nice to not because performance stiff. You can't even get so like with on collision enter and on collision exit, you can get the point of collision because that assumes like it's two physical things that collided, so they did collide at like an edge. So that, but this, I need to be able to go inside this stuff, so I'm not intersecting on the edge. Not sure. Yeah, I don't know. Like, will that cause problems to basically be able to, be in a state like this? I mean, it's not supposed to be common. I don't think to really, as I put it, be in a state like this where you're only one. I mean, although maybe that is better to not be considered both at the same time. You are always one or the other. It might just be better, be less bug prone to have both semi-active at the same time. Could be a problem. Just hoping it doesn't but I can just see it causing problems where pretending that we're the cube, and if the sphere, actually I can use up here as an example where this actually does apply. Just the fact that we can't sit on like the edge of this platform like this. This does not work how this is currently set up. The moment that we touch it, we'd be falling because the cube collider would go away, and the sphere collider that doesn't intersect with the green would be there. In fact, I think I can test that to actually double check that is the case. Because that's how this currently works. See, we're falling, yeah. Wait, why are we falling slowly like this? Wait, what? I thought I got rid of that. I mean, that's not gravity doing that, but yeah, definitely this is wonky. But interestingly enough, the inverse. Okay, other than the falling problem, this does happen on the other side. So it's like it happens on one side or the other, where this you can sort of stay on the edge without falling, where this you can't. So the only way to have both is to have essentially both colliders active at the same time, as long as we're in what is essentially the edge. As long as we're partially outside, partially inside, have both colliders on. But I just don't know how to detect that. How to detect that both colliders, or that we're on the edge of a trigger. Check if on edge of trigger. Ooh. 2013. Let's see. 2011, 2013. Jeez. Okay. I don't know why this is taking so long to load. I'm going to do what no one's done in a million years. Go to the second page of Google. Okay. This is a 2D thing. Yeah, layer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, okay. A theoretical solution, like I'm trying to, in theory, ideally, I want to do as little like setting up with these tear objects as possible, but in theory, I could set up custom colliders for what is considered to be the edges. So like with a box collider here, I could have the box collider that is the tear itself, and then make like set up colliders for what's considered to be the edges. And it's like if we're in contact with this, that means we're on the edge, so have the both scenario. But that would be a lot of setting up for every single thing, or every unique mesh potentially. I'm just not sure if that's worth it, because I mean, yeah, I can do it with these cubes, but what happens when I have a more complicated mesh, or like the sphere? How would I set it up for the sphere? Oh, I'm also raising a problem here. I think I see part of the problem here is with the way that this whole thing works. Because I think exiting this is like exiting this thing. I think that's turning me into the wrong object. So that's interesting. Also interesting how that's all doing. Yes, this project has a lot of problems, a lot of bugs that we're slowly trying to figure out. And I think like, so I'm pretty sure that right now, so other than the problem how the bouncing broke, each of the players on their own works fine. It's just the switching that's introducing so many more problems. But it's the main game mechanic that I wanted to have. So I just got to figure out how to make it work. Maybe I don't know. I focus on different issues and come back to this. Where, like, I mean, the problem is just trying to think of, like, where, like, how do we handle with when we're partially in one, partially in other. Like, yeah, that's a problem, but it's I think I have bigger problems that I should worry about first. So, like, the actual falling. Let's see if I can compare this. Oh, and I'm stuck again. Like that. Problems like that make the game so broken you can't actually play it. So, I want to make this actually fall now. No, wait, why did... Oh, you have used gravity? Oh, I guess I undid that at some point. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Nothing in code should be setting that to be true. Okay. So I want to... Let's start with that. Let's start with this better ground detection. So I have this player switch object, and this needed to be on this third thing rather than being on either of these, because these colliders keep getting activated and deactivated, which is a problem when I'm trying to test on collision enter or on trigger enter, not trigger exit stuff. Because if you're inside and like I turn on a collider, that triggers an on trigger enter event when I don't want it to. So I just have this always on trigger collider that's used for the testing Now, I don't know how this might break later on with like other trigger collider type things, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Might be a matter of just doing more layer stuff where like there's like all the tear stuff and all the switching stuff's on the same layer and only that can interact with itself. That's an idea that I just came up with. that seems like a good solution. Okay, so let me actually open up split player switch. Okay. It would also be nice if maybe rather than it's having main side, if it's synced up with whatever is considered the starting side of this. Because active player... Actually, yeah, this active player is actually now that I think about it, this active player is just kind of representing the main side. Because even if I had active player start as being cube, but if I'm inside a sphere bubble to start, on start it'll cause a switch event. So that takes care of that. So actually, I don't even need this here necessarily. I don't know what else uses this. If anything, like this should be the, like, what is the main side? And this should kind of go off of that. Interesting. So let me actually do that first. Let me just see. Oh, right. Okay, this uses that active player to know who's considered active for the sake of doing stuff. Okay, that makes sense. So how rather than getting this active player, get the I have a player switch. So player switch, get player switch's main side. Oh wait. I do need... Oh, wait, no, hold on. No, I do need... active player is what are we currently. The switch one is which one's the main side, which one's not the main side. Never mind. I think these... they do have reason to exist. Never mind. I feel like there's maybe a way I could combine them. I mean, if anything... So, in the future, active player doesn't need to actually be a public variable. I think I am gonna for now make it a no, I want to be able to eventually I think it's gonna be a private variable, but I want to see it for now for the sake of seeing what it is and are we like how while I'm troubleshooting the whole switching thing. So I'm gonna put it down here with the intent of making it private, but it's gonna stay public for now. I can make it private and like serialized value, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, so with that, then starting player should start by being whatever the main side is. In awake, do this, and then active player equals player switch dot main side. Oh my gosh, if I could spell, that would be great. Okay. No, you have cube and... Oh, well, I mean... Okay, you're the same value. Like, you're the same things inside, but you're just a different enum. How do I handle this? Because I wanted them to have different names. Well, this can be just called characters, and then it's active player. Okay, yeah. Then this doesn't have this in here. I believe this can still get it from the other thing because I defined it outside the class. Okay, so now characters.q. Okay, that's a little better. Yeah, I like that more. So I just have to switch that in a bunch of places, but it works. Okay, so much code. Wait, why don't I do a search and replace? Characters, but make sure to only do it on ones that match case and match. Okay, I won't do it. I'll replace all, but oh wait, hold on. Wait, what? I'll keep replacing, but I won't replace all. I'll do this one in current document. Okay. No more occurrences. Are you sure? I see occurrences. So I don't know. I think this is the only script that used this. Let me double check. 'Cause I might be wrong. I probably am. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Jumping uses it? Okay. Okay, well, sure. This probably just doesn't have as many, I don't think. Right, okay, yeah. This is mainly for, like, the ability stuff. Like, oh, if we should be doing this guy's ability or this guy's ability. Oh, I saw another. Okay. Okay. So, now, that's a little thing there taken care of. So rather than setting that, yeah, so that, okay. Let me just make sure that this works on start. So on start, this is set to cube. I'm considered the cube right now. I can verify that by dashing. Whereas if I were to start back over here, oh, come on. Character, players here. Okay. I start back in the bubble. I should start as the sphere. Right. Right. Why did the bouncing work? What? The bouncing wasn't working before. Oh, it's the double colliders was breaking it, I bet. Oh, I was troubleshooting this a lot yesterday and I couldn't figure it out. The double colliders was probably messing it up somehow. Okay, interesting. I was probably messing with other stuff. I never realized that I wasn't actually, disabling the other collider. Interesting. Fascinating. Okay, cool. Wow, I wonder if that fixed any other problems. Okay, we're not done yet, but that was a big problem that is now solved. Woo! It's funny because I knew that it was working before. It's like, oh, why did it stop working? I had a brief moment in between where I'm like, well, why was this working in the first place? And yeah, figured that out. But no, okay, cool. Glad that that's the case. Whew. So next, what I need to do is have better, deal better with ground detection when switching characters. So when switching characters, I don't currently do anything for ground detection other than, oh, I made it switch ground detect function. This code is old. Part of that year-old code that I haven't looked at in a while. Okay. So let me see if I can figure this out. Okay, so I make a layer mask that combines the two. So this is just to test it both in one place. I could eventually have this better where it actually involves like the names of the layers that matter. But I believe this is like the cube layer, basically the cube sort of environment layer, and this is the sphere's environment layer. Combine them. This is just how you can check, like, do a raycast. Is it on either of them? Does it intersect with either of them? Oh, I'm an idiot. Oh, of course this isn't gonna work. Because it's looking for either. So if it finds one or the other, then it's gonna work. I need this not to be the case. Or I need to be like, if we're the sphere, only check for sphere ground. If we're cube, only check for cube ground. Okay, I see why this doesn't work. So I could just do if. So just check for the character. If characters dot cube. Or wait, if wait, what? How did anything else know what the active character was? Player main dot active player. Okay, right. This has a reference to the player main. Okay, I got this. Also, I haven't used C# that much recently because of school things where I've been using C++ and Python and all that. It's great to be back. Back where I'm familiar with how things work, and I don't have to deal with pointers. No pointers for me. Okay, so if the player is the cube, only check the cube layer, which I'm pretty sure was 9. Which means I could probably feed this right in there, but for now I won't. Let's go cube layer mask, just so the name's more descriptive. And then do the opposite over here. And this 0.6 buffer that I have, I'm just gonna hope that that's good. Okay. So I might have it backwards. I'm pretty sure 9 was cube, 10 was sphere. Let me double check that. I'm also pretty sure nothing's using this environment layer anymore, because initially this was used for ground detection, but I believe I switched that out because now cube and sphere are essentially like their own environment layers, I believe. Okay, so now, yes, it's doing the thing that I wanted to do. Yeah, and you know what? I don't know if, like, okay, as long as it doesn't look too broken, even if it's not like ideal behavior. So this right here, this is ideal behavior, except the fact that sometimes jumping doesn't work. That's a separate thing. I have a feeling that the sphere's gliding is impacting that somehow, but I mean, I might be wrong. But woo, get in there one bug at a time. So now what I think I'm gonna do is another fancy trick I have is that I can actually check mark, like I have simple booleans for whether these abilities are considered to be unlocked. That's very easy to turn on and off. So right now I've just disabled all of the abilities. Yeah. So now I can do that in code in game when we unlock stuff. I use a simple boolean and then just save the value of those booleans. So I have that. Now the character shouldn't have abilities. So I can't dash anymore. Double check. I can't wall jump, but let me double check something. Let me double check that I'm the characters that the game thinks I am. So I'm sphere over here. Now I'm cube. Look at that. Switch to the wrong thing. So that's something to deal with. I think that's a result of the inner thing. I don't think I've dealt with that properly enough, but I will. I had some more like stopping redundancy kind of code where if something goes wrong and it's like we're the cube, try to change into the cube again. I don't do that. I thought that would help things be less buggy, and I think it will overall. But like if I can figure out the problem that was going on there. So right now we think we're the cube. I don't know why. Yeah, sometimes with this changing. Okay, so the jumping. Like I lose the ability to jump. Okay, so we did deduce that it doesn't have to do with the gliding. So I was wrong. I thought maybe, I don't know, split second of gliding, something with the abilities, meh. Okay, so for some reason I lose the ability to jump, and it's not because of the switching, or it's because of the switching, but it's not because of the the gliding or the abilities in general. So that's good to isolate what could be a potential cause of the problem. And I have a consistent way of causing the issue, so that's good. So what might be happening is when I switch out of the cube to this, like when I switch out from, like when I'm switching characters right at the bottom here, it could be doing the raycast down, not finding ground, and setting me to not be grounded, which is fine. That should happen because we're not actually on the ground yet. But then we should be hitting the ground and then becoming grounded again. So that's not happening, so I'd like to know why. And I do notice that I'm able to fix it if I'm able to find a way to fall slightly and onto other ground, because that sort of resets it all. Because when you fall, that's like, oh, now we're not grounded. Then we hit the ground, like, yeah, now we're grounded again. So that's not happening. Okay, so this ground check is what should be passing. Interesting. Yeah, this is if we collide with either of these layers. Yeah. That's fine. Okay. So if we were, so we don't do a ground check if we think we are already grounded. So if grounded is true, we don't need to set it to true again, right? So if we are not considered to already be on the ground, and this basically says like this is basically for like slope detection, I believe. this is essentially, did the thing we collided with that it's considered to be part of the environment layer, is it like, you know, is the slope good with a little bit of leniency, like so the ground can be tilted a bit, but if it's tilted too much, then we can't run on it. Although I am actually looking at this now, and I think this 0.9 might actually be too little. I might have to do more testing with slopes in general. I mean, I don't know to what extent I want the cube character running up slopes, because that probably will look really weird unless I can actually like turn the character model. But sphere ball going up slopes, that should be totally fine, probably. It'd be cool to be able to have like the sphere have a little bit of like a half pipe shape and whoosh up that nicely. Might basically take a page out of like Sonic stuff for that, without being too directly copying. Like the sphere character will not be blue. The sphere character cannot be blue. I'm already on the fence about the sphere character being yellow because I don't know if that's too similar to Pac-Man, but yeah. So I was considering changing them to a different color, but I don't know what color yet. He's a knight, so that's his character. I don't know what color best suits that. Purposely, I'm trying to stray away from colors that might commonly be in the environment, like green for grass and blue for like the sky. Like I'm trying to stray away from colors that are going to commonly be in the environment, just to have the character stand out more, which is where the one character is a magenta and the other character is a yellow. So even if I had like a desert level, it still stands out a decent bit. And the game I'm making with this just happens like it's not going to have a desert level. It just didn't end up happening. I have different levels, different environments. None of them are sand themed. Could be, maybe. Could change my plans. I mean, one of them takes place on like the seafloor, so that can have like underwater seafloor sand, but not like a beach or a desert. Anyway. Okay, so and then this last thing makes sure that the things that we collided with isn't like above us, and I believe this was preventing problems with potentially hitting something that we shouldn't actually be touching to be considered on the ground with. Although I'm just realizing this might also break with slopes now that I look at this. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. Oh, the thing that we... Oh, no, never mind. This won't break. Never mind. I was thinking... For some reason, I was thinking this was... No, this is something different. Never mind. You make sure that our position is greater than the thing we collide with. Yeah, no, that should be... It should be good. It might break at, like, really steep slopes, but at that point, it should, effectively. Okay. Okay, I was just going through to make sure there wasn't anything in the ground check that was, I don't know, maybe being weird with this. So one thing I want to do first is just make sure that this is running the way I think it is. Like maybe for some reason, like the whole on collision enter thing isn't running. So that's going to be my starting point. Okay. So yeah, it ran there. I mean, I know it's running in these spots. That's not what I'm trying to test. So right now we can jump fine. When we hit the ground, that runs. So this time, when this breaks, does it supposedly set is grounded to true? No. Okay, interesting. So that means that either this if statement is being false, or this one, or yeah. So let me go actually all the way out here and see does this run? Because that's actually, that is a little surprising that it's not running. So it's running for every new thing that we collide with. Interesting. Are we colliding with ourselves? The brief period where it's like activate one, deactivate the other for like the collider of the characters. I don't think they should be colliding with each other. And either way, after this if statement, it shouldn't matter, but I'm checking like outside of it. Okay, so does this run? It does. Okay, it would have been worrying if it didn't. It ran twice. Oh, not actually sure why. Let me run some. Let me just see the object that we collided with, because the tear things are triggers, so I don't think on collision enter do that. I think an on collision enter has to be between two colliders, I believe. So it might be the player colliding with himself, but that also shouldn't happen. Because I think one of the cube's colliders is on, like the cube's collider is on the cube layer and the sphere's collider is on the sphere layer, and they're set to not interact. So the switching trigger thing might be doing some weird stuff, but that's a trigger collider, so that also shouldn't trigger on collision enter. But okay, plus collision dot name dot game object dot name. Just print the name of the thing that we touched and whatever. I guess I'll keep the random letters there. So I just want to see what this other object is out of curiosity. I don't know if that's really causing the problem, but I just want to know what it is. So yeah, all of these are ground things. That's good sign. Oh, are we counting as touching this top one? Okay, it was 2 pieces of ground. So that's good, I think. One of them was this. Did we count as touching that? No. What? Interesting. Oh, there's two ground things here. Right. This is the player's... wait, but... Because there's this, and then there's the spheres version of the ground in the same place. Like, this blue platform extends over this way. I think that's what it is. So this is this. 9 is... No, that's 9. 12. 12 is this. It's the equivalent one in the same place. Okay, so that makes sense. That's where those are coming from. So, wait, why are we touching both? Because, again, that brief instance where... Here, let me double check something. Let me move these higher and just make sure that the proximity isn't the issue. Like how close we are from when we leave this to touching the ground. I don't think that's the issue, but it might very well be. Okay, that did some funky things, but that's okay. Okay. It was. Okay, well... oh. It is the problem. With just jumping in general. Okay, interesting, interesting. I don't think it's the issue. I've said that like twice in this stream and have been wrong. Like with the I think it's the gliding that's causing it. Wrong about that. I don't think the proximity is an issue, and that's what's causing it. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So why? I can't print. So actually, the fact that this ran twice means that I basically know for certain that it was the ground, the sphere colliding the sphere ground, and then disabling itself. Oh, and I can see which one happened first. That's interesting information. So the sphere collided with sphere ground, probably set itself to be considered to be grounded, and then cube setting itself to cube ground, or colliding with cube ground. But the cube colliding with cube ground didn't set it to true. So what I think might be happening is potentially it is getting set to true at some point. No, it wasn't running at all though. On like both sides it wasn't running, right? Here, let me do 2 checks. 2 print statements. No, I just need 2 like different pieces of gobbledygook that start with different letters so I can just tell them apart. Okay, so what runs of these? Like, go up here again. Oh, that, wait, oh, you, hold on, I need to undo this. So that's the distance that was causing the problem? Okay. It's weird that it, because I don't think, even though the distance is really close, we still should be running this one's on trigger exit event before we run this thing's on trigger enter event. So that's why I'm just seems weird that this is being a problem. But yeah. And to double check, we can't jump now. Okay. So it's the... So in both cases, it does get to here, but then it thinks that this shouldn't run. Question is why. So now I just am going to print out, again, to more so verify what's actually wrong, I'm going to print out basically each part of this if statement and see what part of it is actually wrong. Let me put this. So this should be true. Might as well, like, well, this, no, not what I wanted. Not what I wanted, not what I wanted, no, okay, well, I can burn out the whole thing, but I know it will be false, so I'm not gonna do that. I just wanted this, that's what I was going for, so it would be like true plus name. That's what should happen, but it's not, so, or I don't think it is, unless it actually is one of the other parts of the if statement that's not running, but I don't think so. Okay, so this should have true, ground, whatever, true. Actually, should have false, ground, whatever, and then true, ground, whatever. Let's see what happens. I'm expecting false on both. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, that's almost a good sign that I know what the problem is coming from, and it isn't coming from one of the other parts like I thought it might be. Or like, I assumed it wasn't, and I was correct. I mean, yeah. Okay, so both of these, it's going false, and, wait, oh wait, hold on, wait. Okay, so it was false, which means, is grounded, thinks it's true. Oh, interesting. So what seems to be happening then, somehow, is it thinks that we're on the ground, and then something happens that makes it thinks that we're not on the ground. Interesting. So the question is, why? What's even stranger is just the fact that the sphere's on collision enter event is running, because it shouldn't be, because the sphere's collider should be disabled before that happens. I could do like a, here, let me try something. Just to see. Get more information here. If I move under this again. I'm just gonna move like slightly away from it just so I can drop onto the ground, so I know that's not gonna factor into anything. Let me just go like time scale equals 0.1. Just sort of run the game in slow-mo, and on top of that I want to see the is grounded variable and what it actually is right now. So I want to look at it and see in real time how it changes. So this is it here. Is it under my head? Kind of. Here, let me actually, okay, yeah, it's running slow on purpose. Make that a little bit better. Oh yeah, I'll put the console behind my head. It's just having those print messages from before, which is false and then a name. Okay, so, okay, move under here with it being super slow. Good. So I want to see effectively what happens to, where is it? I need to actually find the variable, otherwise I'm not going to be able to see it go. So is grounded is currently true, as we expect. If I now jump, I didn't mean to do such a tiny jump, but whatever. Right now it's false. I can go forward frame by frame, actually, because I did the time deposit. We are considered not to be grounded. Oh, time.timescale is gonna probably do weird things with this or whatever. That's okay. Oh, are we falling so fast that in one frame we're going from here to here? Really? Well, no, okay. So at this point in time, we have left this. So this thing's on collision exit event should have ran, which means that the sphere should have an inactive sphere collider, but it currently doesn't. The box currently has, okay, well, it's still one or the other. That's almost, okay. So Okay, so it still thinks it's the sphere for maybe a single frame. I could change interpolate to actually do that. I have collision detection as continuous. Or, well, I don't know. But it should have ran that. Like, it should be changing to cube right about now. It's not more and is grounded as false, which is correct. So how many do I have to go before you move? Okay, so now we're at this frame, which we are considered to be the cube now. And I guess, I don't know why this is like, I feel like the time scale is what's messing with this right now. I imagine it's going to be a thing where like next frame it fixes itself. Okay, so right now we are considered to be a cube. The cube has that's inactive. Yep. So because it was inactive, but it became inactive on like the frame that it moved into it. I can see that being a problem. Okay, so right now we are considered to be on the ground. So that did get set to true, like it was supposed to. And actually, I think it didn't get set to true because of the on collision enter. It got set to true because of the ground detection thing of like the switch ground detection thing. That set it to true. So now, okay. So now we're like moving out of the ground. So this called the cubes on. Wait, what? Why are you different now? What? Wait, did actually changing the timescale change what's happening now? No. No, don't do this to me. Wow, it actually did the right thing now. Oh no. Never mind. Okay, never mind. Okay. Good. It did do something different. The print message behind my head, there's only one of them, and it's true ground 9. Okay, maybe I was too early in... No, is grounded is true. But I can't jump. Interesting. Well, okay, that's not the only variable that concerns itself with jumping. Okay. I think I have another variable to do with jumping. I'll look into that in a second. Let me just... Okay. So it looks like there's two problems going on here. Not being able to jump or like the ground detection not being... So that looks to be more a problem with... Maybe I want to set, yeah, okay, let me go back to the, like, running in normal speed for a minute. It has something to do with, the speedy collision detection that's so instantaneous. If I do continuous dynamic, be more, better with your collision detection. That did not help. Okay, well. Wow. So it's actually... Wait. But it had true... Oh, it had true in both spots this time. Weird. No, is grounded is true. Oh, wait, is that new? Oh. Maybe it is running differently than before. Hold on. Okay. Go back to continuous for a second. Okay. So that may have fixed the... So it's like two problems in one. Oh, is grounded is true. Oh wait, maybe this was good the whole time. Wait, what? But in the console behind my head, I'm getting true messages now. But I swear I wasn't before. It's going true ground whatever, true ground whatever. I didn't change anything. That's concerning. I just changed this back to what it was before. Huh. Well, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to just go off the assumption that that's working, apparently, and we're going to solve the other problem, which I believe is just... I have a different variable for whether or not we can jump, and I do that on purpose because is grounded and whether or not we can jump aren't always equal. There are times, or specifically for platforming reasons, where basically to allow when you leave a platformer, when you leave a platform, the split second of you still being able to jump. That's what I do there. Like that's why those variables are different, and yeah. Okay, so it's this variable. So okay, so I need to activate the correct things here. Do I want to actually basically run all of this? Double checking of so yeah, the air dash resets when you touch the ground, and the something for wall jumping gets reset when you hit the ground. Okay, so I'll do this. I'll copy it in 2 steps. So switch ground check. Oh yeah, it just does this. So it needs to set all of the things, I guess. And even if we're not the sphere, I still kind of like set this just to make sure the value's like what it should be for when we switch back. Okay. Okay. So, and I guess I'm gonna run this too. I don't remember exactly what that does, but it does something. That works. I think that this has to do with current wall jump velocity is either having to do with sliding down the wall, or no. I think wall jump velocity is how when you jump off a wall, even if you're not holding any directional, like moving left and right buttons, you move. You know, you're like I use this wall jump velocity as, you know, the flying through the air when you're not holding any buttons. I think I set that to 0 when you hit the ground, so you stop moving in those directions. I think that's what this does. So I want to do that when you hit the ground, so I probably want this regardless of what side you're on. Or what side we're switching to. Now the other thing while I'm at it is that I probably, now that I think about it, want to run these guys when if in a switch, we stop being in the ground. Like in this stuff. And that will do, that will prevent them from being problems. Because I think actually this would have otherwise had it so that we could have, if we start falling because we switch sides, we could still jump. I think that's what that would have done. Okay, so let's try this out and see what happens. All right. Woo! Yeah! Slowly getting there with bug fixes. So that seems to fix. Let me just thoroughly kind of test it by, like, you know, purposely breaking it with lots of switching. I know that over here it's switching to the wrong sides. Okay, perfect. Now, that could have fixed it, including the abilities, or abilities might introduce... Well, I think the abilities will introduce their own problems. Also, okay, we still have this kind of going on, but I think it's good enough for now that we're just going to go with it. In fact, I can choose... Oh, wait, no, actually not really. I was going to say I can choose what way it happens. No, I can't. Right now, because it's based on collision enter and on collision exits, yeah, it can only work like this. So it works as intended, as I would like it to here. But it doesn't work here. But, I mean, if you're moving fast, I don't know, maybe you hopefully won't notice it very much. And, I don't know, it's not, like, the worst thing. Oh, what the heck was that? What? Don't call me out, game. I wonder if different collision detection... What is this? Excuse me? Well, that's not something I was expecting. I want to try something now. With it. I just want to see, does this like continue? If I can do that, can I like continue to move? And here, let me also move this one like out of the way for right now. It's very hard to pull off, but like, we've got spider box over here. It does seem that, like, yeah, when you're in the middle, it does like snap you to one side or the other, which is also maybe fine. Oh, I had it. No. What causes that? Oh. Okay, I think I know what's happening here. Because I'm not using manual gravity, I think this is also a thing where it doesn't think it thinks we're on the ground, And so let me test this. I think I can test. I think I can verify this, and maybe then I can do something about it. I mean, it's a hard to pull off bug, so that's like better. I think it thinks that we're on the ground, so it's not applying falling. So, and I think I have an idea for the fix for that. Come on. But I just want to verify. Yeah. So it thinks that we're not on the ground. Okay. See there. Okay. So what I think I can do, what I probably should be doing, is to fix any other potential ground-related problems, is even if we aren't grounded, apply like the tiniest bit of falling distance anyways. Just do that regardless, just to make sure. That will also help us like stick to the ground better. If, I don't know, we did anything with like moving platforms, I imagine that would cause this like, a platform moving up would be fine, but a platform moving down would cause this like weird jittering, unless I do more stuff with moving platforms, for example, to combat that. Which I probably would, like on a moving platform, I'd probably like do stuff with like whatever the velocity is of the platform and apply that with the player. But I think in addition to that, I should just have falling. This is in an else. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure. If I'm gonna do this, I need to make sure that it effectively always runs, unless I have a good reason for it not to. So if we are in the middle of doing this dashing thing, then yeah, don't do the fall. Don't have the additional falling. If we are, what is this? We're in the mid. Wait. This is to start a dash. This is to continue dashing, I believe. This is to bounce. This is to continue slamming. This is to... It's kind of like a Mario ground pound. Right when we are about to slam is effectively the ground pound. We pause in the air for like a split second, and maybe animation coupled with that in the same way that like a Mario ground pound works. Like you freeze in the air for a second and then you go down. Just have that in there. That's what that's for. So yeah. In all of these scenarios, we don't want to have any falling at all. Otherwise, whether we're on the ground or not. So this is if we are not grounded. And combined velocity is equal to 0. And, okay, so this is making sure that we... Oh, okay, I see what this is. So if we received a y velocity from jumping, don't fall. Like, because otherwise this will sort of override jumping. In that case, I could just have this be before, but I guess it makes sense. Just like, don't bother doing these calculations if they're going to get overridden anyway. So let me first, before I basically do anything, if I just got rid of this test, run fall always, other than this scenario, go in, peek in, go to definition. So run fall always, and it starts by taking the player's current y velocity, which is why I think that actually, because I made that change with the whole gravity thing, I think this might work better now with, not plummeting like a rock as much. I need to kind of verify that though. So, because if the player is on the ground, it ideally like it'll apply a little bit of force downward, but it's not going to be this constant increasing force. I think, but I have to see if this force is too much. So, ignoring the slime, the bounce. This is the bouncing thing. Is slam bouncing? Oh yeah, is slam bouncing is like, are we approaching the ground with the intent to bounce? I think that's what this is. Or... Oh, no. This is us rocketing up from a bounce, I think. So, okay. So we reduce stuff from our gravity multiplier, and then okay. Yeah. Oh, this is basically just do gravity, don't do anything else. This is if we are the sphere and we're gliding, then gliding overwrites stuff. Okay. Otherwise, then this is to aid in having jumping look better, which is that if we are moving upwards and we're holding the jump button. No, if we're moving upwards and we let go of the jump button, apply an additional force downwards, and that allows us to do short jumps. So if we're in the middle of going up from a jump, it has to be from a jump specifically, which just means that we're holding space. Or jump held, which isn't just holding space, but it's effectively holding the jump button after a jump. So it doesn't work if we're going up, we let go of space, but then we press space again. That doesn't count. It has to be the jump still being held from when we jumped. Then it applies additional force downwards until we cross the point of now falling, and then when we're falling, oh, Mata-chan, yeet, hello, welcome. What disc game? It's the game of coding of C++, but actually it's Unity stuff. I returned to a game that I've been working on. That I started working on, or the last time I worked on it was like a year ago, and yeah, Sonic. Sort of, if Sonic was a cube. This is an abstract adventure, and basically the whole gimmick of the game is this. It's really cool. I'm doing a lot of bug fixing right now where things are breaking, but we're getting there. I have fixed some bugs, so that's good. So basically, when you're the cube, you can... I can't... Oh, I froze the abilities. Yeah, okay, hold on 1 second. Un momento. You unlock abilities, and I'm just re-enabling them because I was testing some stuff that had to do with not having the abilities. Oh, it doesn't work if I have to... Hold on. I need to have these be enabled from start, otherwise I think they currently don't work for enabling them mid-game. There's a game in the bug. Yeah, that's the way to describe it. Yeah. So essentially, I mean, first of all, boom, look at this. When you're on depending on what side you're on, yeah, this is a platform that goes all the way across, and this is one platform that goes all the way across. And then furthermore, this thing could be moving back and forth, and depending on how it moves, you fall through it. Now, how you fall through it is a little janky. You can kind of do that, but we're working on it, essentially. Now, the cube can wall jump. That's a thing. Also, they got this where it looks like you're fully on this one, and then there can be a tear within a tear. That's what I'm calling these. Ignore these ones being cubed. This is how they're supposed to look. Ignore it in the scene view. It's completely broken in the scene view, but that's fine. This is ideally how it has this cool outside stuff. This is going to happen to these cubes eventually. They just don't have enough things. Hey, Chroma, can I ask a coding tree? Hello. Seja Streams. Hello, and yes, you can. Ask away. No guarantees I'll be able to answer it, but I can try. But yeah, so also the cube can... Oh, why is everything breaking now? No. But the cube can dash. The cube can dash through the air. I don't know why that's not working right now. It was. Oh, because I didn't click it. Okay, that would be why. It's not a bug. It's just I didn't click the right button. Good. Okay. Let me quickly show it off what these abilities do because they're cool. So wall jumping, first of all. That. Dashing. And then, if you dash into a wall, you rocket up the wall, which leads to a satisfying thing. Now, currently, there's a bit of a problem with it in terms of, infinite height stuff. You can do this, which is not intended, so I need to fix that. I have an idea of how to fix it, but yeah. Do you know how I can do a one-time tag RNG for a game? Interesting. So funny you say that, because a while back, I was working on a tag game. So I have a little bit of experience doing that. And I actually might be returning to be doing that at some point. So a one-time tag RNG. It's a bean game. Yeah, that's that. They're not bean people anymore. They have actual character models. They're not great, but they're in progress. So they are human people, unlike this. This, I stripped away all the art to work on this. I'm going to be bringing back some of the art later. Okay, but no, it's an item tag? An item tag. Oh, do you mean as an example, I'm going to use I don't know, Mario Kart or something. How you have a banana and a shell and that, and each of those might have the tag these are bananas. They have the banana tag. These are shells. They have the shell tag. Like that. Yeah. Okay. So when you say tag, you're talking about the Unity, these tags, right?
Just to clarify, like, yeah. Like, I was thinking, when you first said that, I thought you meant, like, tag, like, the game of tag, because I was making a tag game a little bit ago. But yeah, you mean the Unity tag system. Okay, cool. So, a one-time tag RNG. So, might I ask, why do you... So, tag RNG. So each item having a temporary tag? And that tag is determined by RNG? So I can start to answer that if that's in the ballpark of what you want. Let me, we're going to ignore all of this, and I'm just going to type code down here. Ignore everything surrounding it. So if you have a certain game object, this is your item or whatever, you can go tag equals, wait, I believe you can go, like the tag is a string. So the string that is the actual written out thing of what that tag is. So I can be like tag equals player or whatever. Now this has to be a tag that you have defined here, so you can't make up new tags like that. As far as I know, so if you go to the, actually, well, let me just do that again. If you on a thing, you can go to bottom, add tag. I imagine you probably might be familiar with this system. As far as I know, there's no way of dynamically adding and removing tags from this list. There might be. I mean, I could Google it, but as far as I know, there isn't a way of actually changing these tags. But you can, if you have a bunch defined on a particular item, you can go back and forth between changing what tag you want those to be. So if you wanted it to be random, so actually, I mean, okay. So one thing you could do, let's say you have 10 tags. Let's just pretend that you had, player. Oh, okay, actually, I'm just gonna go 3 tags for the sake of this. Enemy. You said item, but whatever. Let me just. I see a thing out of the corner of my eye. 1 second. Tag 3 because I can't be creative. Item can have several tags, but said item can only have 1 tag and is to be locked, so players cannot use the system to get a particular item that can come from one item. Okay, hold on, I need to decipher this. Okay, so item can have several tags. So first of all, I guess going through this one step at a time, like that isn't a thing? Like an item in Unity can only have 1 tag, unless this is what you're talking about, that like it can have one of many tags that it can switch between. Unless, now, there is technically a way you can have multiple tags, and it's essentially using tags to represent combined. So you can have, like, player, enemy, and, like, a tag that means both would be, like, player and enemy. And then, like, well, make some kind of, like, neither, neither. Ignore that this doesn't, like this. That would be a way to represent 2 tags at once. If you wanted 3, one of many. Oh, okay, well, fair enough. But yeah, if you wanted one of many, as far as I'm aware, it becomes really complicated where you might have like, tag 3. And essentially you might have like, basically, you could have 1 tag for each scenario where it's like, true, true, false. Like, essentially, yeah, for every like decision you can make. So like player and enemy and tag 3. Player and not enemy and tag 3. Player, like not player and enemy and tag 3. That could be a way, but that's probably not a good way to do this, I would imagine. So can have one of many. Oh, okay, one of many tags. Hold on, you don't need any of what I'm saying. You just have multiple tags. This doesn't apply for what you're trying to do. Okay, so can have 1 tag and is to be locked. So let's say, imagine, so you have an item. If you have an item, imagine you're maybe instantiating these items. When you instantiate the item, pick one of the tags to use. Is that basically what it is then? I may have been rambling in the wrong direction here. So players cannot use the system to get a particular item that can come with 1 item. So when the item is instantiated, you want to randomize the tag between a few different tags. Is that all? Because I think actually that is more simple than anything I've been saying. Where simply you can go like, ignore that everything's like not working right because of where I'm coding it. Random dot. So first of all, there's a function here, handy dandy, called random.range. And let's just say that these are the tags, and that they're defined over in the other place. So like enemy. Okay, well, let's go. If I'm going with item names,
banana, shell, third thing, boost. 3 tags. Then, if you know that there's 3 of them, let's say you know the length, you know that there's 3, you can get a random number between 1 and 3. Except we'd want between like 1 and 4, so that like because it goes up until the last number. So I mean, actually, a better way would be going maybe between 0 and 3, and you're gonna get a number that's either 0, 1, or 2. So you have that. Okay, you said a thing. And to have it lock because all items change between 2 worlds, so data will hold different tags. Oh, interesting. Okay, wait. Oh, okay. So, I mean, it's not like a Mario... I was using Mario Kart as an example just for, like, items. Like, in that game, you pick up an item and use it. In your case, like, you can pick up multiple items, and whatever items you have picked up in, like, an inventory of some kind, you hold on to the item, and it I'm going to say use banana. I don't know, because I have that written. You pick up a banana, or let's say a key. I don't know. What you're picking up doesn't matter. It's an item. You pick up a key. It knows it's a key. It has the tag, like, that tells it to be a key. Going from one world to another, so data will hold all items change between 2 worlds. Okay, key is a bad example. Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure I understand what you're saying. So world 1 and world 2, let's say. World 1, you have banana shell boost. World 2, you have like, okay, I don't know, red shell, key, no, it doesn't really make sense, and like triple boost. These are considered different items. These are your world 1 items, these are your world 2, but there's 3 of them. So when you go from world 1 to world 2, do you keep holding an item? Are you trying to have it like save that you have this item between world 1 and world 2? Or is it like, if I pick up item 1, or like item with like, if I pick up an item in world 1, it's going to be one of these 3 things. If I pick up an item in world 2, it's going to be one of these 3 things. Is it that? Is it? I'm asking a lot of questions, so it's gonna be, if you just say yes or no, it'll be hard for me to know which of the many questions I've asked that you're answering. But so is it the second thing? I'm thinking that's more the second thing. If you're in world 1 and you pick up an item, it's one of these 3 things. If you're in world 2 and you pick up an item, it's one of these 3 things. Is that it? Is that the gist of what's happening here? Potentially. Okay. Metal clump can become colored crystal, clear crystal, or mystic gem. Oh, like that. Okay, it's like a Minecraft-esque thing. Sort of. Okay, so you come across this thing and you open it. It can have one of 3 things. Okay, it can become colored crystal, clear crystal, or mystic gem. Okay. And that right there makes me think that you're going to have a lot of different types of items. So that almost makes me think that tags might not be what you want to use here. Maybe, like, it has the tag item, and that's it. It has the tag item, and then you maybe have a different way, your own inner work system that actually tells an item what it is, rather than using tags. And that might actually be better for you, perhaps. So you don't open it, it changes through... You don't open it, it changes through the worlds. So, like... So does that mean in your inventory, are you holding the metal clump? And if you open the metal clump in world 1, it's one of these. And if you open the metal clump in world 2, it's one of these. Or is it in world 1, you come across a metal clump on the ground, you open it, it becomes those 3 things. And in world 2, you come across metal clump, you open it, it becomes things. So is the metal clump in your inventory going between levels, or is the metal clump on the ground, you open it, and depending on what world you're in, it does 2 different things? Either way, I think we can handle either situation. I just need to know which it actually is. Okay, world 2, you would pick up a metal clump. Goes to world 1, it becomes one of 3 items. Okay, so the metal clump is like in your inventory, and then when you open it, it becomes... Okay, gotcha. Okay. So what 3 things it can become depends on the world you're in. Interesting. So if it's dependent on the world you're in, So if let's say, okay, this is your metal clump code, or more, it could be more general for like item that splits into multiple items code. Okay, so rather than in here then, rather than hard coding actual what they are, you would want maybe like you'd have maybe like an int for item type. And that, let's say that can be, and this is more representative in an abstract way, where it's like 0 can like equal banana, 1 equals shell, and so on. So rather than actually using names, and then somewhere, but not like, but as you said, this can change depending on the level. So actually, not the best way to represent this, but it's this kind of idea where a number represents the level. But then somewhere else in your scene, probably on your like game manager, like, you know, different between levels code, then you might have something where a string array for items, item list or whatever, where like in world, is there a way I could send you a doc with what I'm trying to explain? Yes, and I think I'm getting it like in the closer in the ballpark. Sorry about being the most helpful. I've tried to. I guess I'm misunderstanding something here. I have a Discord. I have open on the side here. I just give you an invite. Why is this being weird? Okay, blam. Click the right one. Yeah. Okay. And you can send me images, screenshots that maybe might be more helpful for me. But like, but what I'll continue with this explanation because I think it's in the ballpark. In world 1, item list equals, you know, banana, shell, etc. Right? And then string. There you are. See that? And then in world 2, item list. So then this is where you define it maybe on one object what the different numbers mean in different levels. And also I should say that I'm giving a way of doing it. My way could be wrong, or it could be a better way. This is what I'm thinking of off the top of my head. Red shell, coin, whatever. So if in each world, each level, whatever, your item list strings is equal to different things, then on the thing that splits into different, this can splits into different items. So this is not actually, it's like 0 equals, you know, item 1 equals item 2, and so on. Then in your split function, so like split function, when you call like, oh, now it's time to split this thing up, then like, you know, item, I guess if you're instantiating the items or however your inventory system is doing whatever, so I guess if you're instantiating prefabs, that might be different. Let's if you're just storing it in an inventory system, you might not need to instantiate prefabs. I don't know, but let's just say, well, then it'd be like, you know, generate item of type, and then you're just gonna be like, you know, game manager, probably like inventory manager, whatever, dot items list at element item type. And that would, in theory, well, this would be to generate something into a single item. Ping, I see. I will look at that in about a moment. So let me just quickly go like 2, 3. So in that case, then you could have for all, or like item types as an array. Actually, that would probably be better. And then if this is of size like 3, the syntax is a bit wrong there. Okay, so you've sent This is a copy, not original. Do not show stream. Okay, fair enough. Let me... If I click this, I don't know what screen it's going to open on. So let me cut away for a second and make sure it opens not on this screen. So I'm going to go this, just my face. Open this up. Yep, move to different screen. So yeah, I won't... I'll leave it off screen. There you go. Okay. So I can see this. So could you direct me to the area of interest rather than me skimming through this whole thing? The interesting. This does look interesting. I have actually for my abstract adventure game, I have a design document of my own there. Although it's very much like a work in progress where like there's a lot of areas that's like, this isn't going to be a part of the game anymore, but it's still, the code's still there. Yeah, so except that there. But well, I guess continuing with this for now, for the moment. Okay, so, but this could work in theory, potentially. Where on the item, so on your metal clump thing, you have a list of what items it spawns. This is definitely, I guess, like, so the items that it spawns can't be on the metal clump itself because that changes from scene to scene. So the items that you're spawning with the metal clump would need to be set by some other object that is unique from scene to scene. So that's why I've done this like this, which may like look a bit messy. In theory, an idea. So although maybe rather than item list being like all of the items everywhere, like maybe this is specific where you have like metal clump item list, blah blah blah, same thing here, and then I mean like for your other types of things of like I don't know, gold clump, whatever, you have a different set of things. You know, I don't know, whatever. Like you could potentially then have like different lists for each thing that should be different, potentially. So items to spawn, I guess, would be a better thing. It would be an array of size 3. And then actually, hold on. No, actually, do you even need the numbers? Now that I think about it, I think I can actually make this better. Rather than, if I did do it like this, actually, this would be better, maybe more organized, where you make the things by separate lists. So, oh, I guess the copy does not explain it better, but I think knowing the main mechanic should help. All right, fair enough. So again, like I guess, like where would be a good area of this to look? Oh, that's really funny. We both are doing a similar thing with our games. That's really funny. Having fantasy and sci-fi elements, I'm doing that in my game too. With the main thing of this whole alternate dimension thing, where one side will be sci-fi and the other side will be fantasy. That's my plan there. So that's funny. Okay. So yeah, I'm reading your things, except I guess I won't read them out loud because, yeah. Oh, interesting. Oh, actually, I think it has a lot of similar, or some not like some similar concepts, which is neat. Okay, interesting. Okay, actually, yeah. Never mind. I'm seeing more differences. Okay. Okay. Wait. So. Okay, interesting. Okay, okay. Abilities, ether dash mechanic. Okay, so this is what I was asking before. Like, what area of this should I be looking for to explain this, rather than me reading through the whole thing? I mean, I guess I am at this point, but so you have a dash. Okay, range of. Okay, is it this crystal thing? Is that what this is, or which if or no, that's something different. Okay, that's more of an ability thing. Okay, never mind. Yes, the crystals. Oh, there was nothing in here about crystals, or no crystals can affect an ability. Okay, maybe I'm mistaken, or I skimmed through, but like I don't see any other mention of crystals. Let me Control F for crystal. Oh, wait, I'm wrong. Okay. Ether dash mechanic. Okay, so not everything is in there. I noticed. Fair. Oh, those crystals come from clumps of metal. Okay, but then depending on which level you're in, you get different crystals. Okay. But you can still pick up a clump, carry it to another level, and then open it. And because you've opened it there, you get different things. Not levels, just worlds. Just world. Okay, well, okay. I'm using worlds and levels interchangeably as synonyms, but yeah, I guess it could be different. Yeah. So between. Wait, do you have both worlds and levels in like a Mario way where one world has multiple levels? Do you have that kind of system then? Or, no? Okay. So in this case, worlds and levels are well, other than, I guess you have I say worlds and levels, like usually level implies going from beginning to end. In yours, it's like a world you're exploring and you go between free roam world. Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, okay, makes sense. So that makes sense with also the whole crystal thing. You pick it up and you go to another place and you open it, and then ta-da, it's a different thing. Okay, but it still is a thing where you pick up a crystal chunk thing. If you open it there, you get some stuff. If you don't open it here, you get some other stuff. So let me ask you this then: what actually happens to the thing that you are? Like what's actually happening with the things you're getting out of it? So let's say like you open up the clump and you get crystals, blue crystal, red crystal, green crystal, whatever. What actually is happening to those objects like in your game? Is it going straight into an inventory, or is it actually spawning the things in the environment, like there they are? Or is it just like a UI thing? Or like, yeah, what's the plan there? It is an inventory. Okay. So in inventory, is this being, like, asking more questions to know, I guess, more about this. Is it representing your inventory by just names or pictures or, like, 3D models or like, probably, like, just by, like, pictures or something of, let's say, in this case, different crystals or like, a crystal clump? Or is it just, like, text? Because that will impact some things. If it's just text, then you can just change text values. If it's images, then you might have to actually instantiate images. Names and item pictures. Fair enough. Okay. Interesting. So, one thing I know about that is, I don't know if you're familiar with something called scriptable objects. It's a complex thing, but it can be used for this kind of thing, but it is a complex thing. Actually, that would more so to store, like, with this... with a certain item, this is its name, this is its picture, this is its like description or whatever, and storing that all in one place. But yeah, I guess your thing is actually simple enough that you probably don't need to worry about that, but you can. Okay, so in this case then, so you have in your inventory metal clump, and in your inventory you click it, and then you go like open, and then that is like, oh, you got these three like types of things, and now those are in your inventory. Okay, with that, but then what you get is different depending on what world you're in when you open it. Okay, so then I think what I have here still kind of works for that. It's just how you actually, when I say generate item of type, that's a lot more generalized compared to what you'd actually be doing. So in your case, you probably would need, if you're going to have different images for each item, you're going to need a prefab for each item, probably. So just names here probably doesn't cut it. So you're going to probably want somewhere, I guess, in your project. Oh, Matcha Chat, Among Us images. Hello. And I don't know what Among Us looks like to you, but I don't think it looks like this. The crystals will go back as the clump when you go. Oh, wait, what? Oh, the crystals will go back as the clump when you go back to the world you get the metal clump. What? Oh, wait. So you're saying that what's in your inventory changes physically when you go between worlds. Like, without you even looking in your inventory, when you go between different worlds, your inventory changes. Yes. Okay, neat. Interesting mechanic. I can't think of any game that does that, so that's cool. It's a neat thing. I was imagining almost like a crafting-esque thing. Well, kind of. Or like an opening a chest kind of a thing, where you open the chest is gone, you don't care about the chest, but now you got stuff out of it. That's the way I was thinking of it. Okay. But yeah, so this is different. So you have a metal clump. You get the crystals when you go to another world, but then when you go... Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I think so when you actually are opening the metal clump, it's not that like you go in your inventory, you select metal clump and you go open. It's, let's say you have two worlds, A and B. When you're in world A, you have metal clump. As soon as you switch to world B, it becomes crystals. And then then there are crystals when you're in world B. As soon as you go from B back to A, it goes back from being a crystal into a metal clump. Is that how that's operating? So you aren't going into your inventory and pressing buttons that's making this happen. It just happens as a result of you going back and forth. Yes, it is. Okay, fair enough. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So one more question then. So it's one thing becoming multiple things, and then multiple things becoming one thing, correct? So what happens if it's one thing becoming three things? What happens if you use up a crystal? So now you only have two crystals, and then you go back to the other world. How does that work? Because that might affect things, unless you use all three crystals all at one time. So it's either you have the three or you don't. One thing having a chance to become one of three items. Oh, it's not... Okay. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so it's not one... Oh, okay, I was very much misunderstanding this. Okay, fair enough. I thought it was like you have this one thing. It's like opening a chest, and it becomes a few different things. Okay, gotcha. Definitely I was saying it's in the ballpark, but okay. So one thing becoming one of three things, and whatever the three things it is, when it goes back, it becomes one thing. Okay, one more question. Sorry for all the questions here. But let's say it becomes so clump of rocks becomes a green crystal, and then you go back, it becomes a clump of rocks. When you go back again, should it become a green crystal again, or should it re-randomize? So like, you go back, it's a metal clump, you go back again, now it could be a blue crystal, or whatever. So once it's randomized, should it always be the same thing for that metal clump? It should become what it was the first time. Good, okay. That's, I think, easier. Okay, so in this case, and is this different between, okay, sorry, more questions. I was using like world A and world B as an example. If you introduce a world C into the mix, how does that factor into this? So if you have metal clump and you go into world A, metal clump from world A, you go into world B, it's a crystal. What happens when you go into world C? Does it turn back into a metal clump? Does it turn into a different type of crystal? Does it stay as the same crystal? So metal clump in world A, you go to world B, it becomes a green crystal. When you go into world C, what happens? There is a world C, but world C is null/void, making everything to not work. Okay. Oh, right. Yours, you said that it's going back and forth between two. So it's most of the time it's two, right? So it's not like A, B, C, D, E, whatever. It's basically going back and forth between two. I forgot about that. Okay, that makes this also easier. Okay, so in this case, you essentially have, item, not what I wanted. Okay, item A is linked to one of 3 item Bs. Like, weird way of writing it, but that's that. So essentially, that's what you want to do. You want to link an item A to a random thing that can come in world B, and because it's only 2 worlds, that actually makes this a whole lot simpler. I was writing this in a very generic sense, as if it was like could have like it was a way to expand onto multiple worlds. So in this case, and I was imagining different worlds, like different scenes. So I'm like, you needed something that can actually persist between scenes. Okay. But in this case, I imagine going from one world to another might not necessarily be a scene change. Okay. So in this case, you would want to have, okay. On, I'm going to use your names here, Metal Clump, and then on Crystal. I almost think that rather than having the objects of, okay, actually, no, okay. On Metal Clump, have basically, okay, so you'd have like a public array of game objects that are all of the different objects that it can become. The I guess it'd be like crystal prefabs. So this is prefab for green crystal, prefab for red, prefab for blue. So this is each of the different things that this can become, and only this. So in this case, I'm saying 3 crystals could just be object prefabs, and then you could have basically then somehow, I don't know how you're actually what code is doing the scene changing, but on the Metal Clump, have your function that's like void scene, not scene, world switch, whatever. Having something like, so, oh wait, okay, hold on. So it actually would have need to, so if it was going to re-randomize, it would pick the randomizing now. But if it's randomizing in a set way, then in your start of your on the Metal Clump, you want to pick it then, the random number. So probably private game object crystal to switch or something, I don't know, or item to switch, whatever. So this is basically of these 3 or however many, this is the one that it's going to become. And then on start, you might want to pick a random number, random.range, between 0 and crystal prefabs.length. Getting a lot of red lines just because of where I'm typing this in the middle of all my code. This. Just that? Yeah. And then, well, you want to actually, if I'm going to do this in 2 stages, go int, item num equals blah, and then something like crystal prefab, or crystal to switch equals crystal prefabs at element item num. So that's going to set up that now this Metal Clump is associated with the item it's going to become now and forever is the one that it picked. Add, ooh, okay. Well, I shall wait for that. But in the meantime, well, you can't hear me now, but in the meantime, I'm just going to keep coding. And yeah, see you when you're back. Now the actual switching process is what's a bit weirder. So on, I almost think that like, okay, so switching from one object to another maybe shouldn't instantiate prefab and destroy prefab. Like instantiate the crystal UI thing, destroy the Metal Clump. Okay, you're back? Okay, cool. I was just continuing to do stuff. But essentially, of sort of planning this in my head. But so what I think I was just finishing saying when add happened, whatever, is that so basically you have this array of crystal blue, green, red. And then this is the one that's going to actually pick the random one it's going to pick. So then it's going to pick a random number between 0 and the length of this array, which will essentially just pick one of these. And then it's going to set that now and forever in start as either the red, the blue, green crystal, whatever. So now what I'm a little, stuck on is how to deal with the actual switching once you know this. So, I mean, ideally, like, now you have, like, world, in your world switch function, like, metal clump becomes crystal. Like, you'd have that, but the actual inner workings of how that happens would be a bit more complicated. And then on crystal, like, I mean, okay. If you were to do this like on an object by object basis, you could have like that on the crystal metal clump, or to be more generic, switch back item or something. Probably you'd make this public because you drag this in as a prefab reference, and then you don't need to set a thing in start, but then just like on world switch, I guess I'm gonna do this. Then crystal becomes metal clump. Becomes metal clump. Now, the problem that I see with this is just the actual like. I don't know if I don't think I'd like having the world switch code being on the objects themselves, because then to switch you'd have to like instantiate and destroy objects, which you probably don't want. So instead, the thing that handles your switching of items would maybe be better being on this overarching piece of code. So like item switch code. So here, having, I guess it's going to have your inventory. So this might just be your inventory code or something in general. So this might have your entire list of items. Public, I'm going to save game object, whatever type it ends up being in the actual thing. If it could just be an array of images or something. Or an array of like, if metal clump is like, I'm just going to use game object for now. So public game object, like items. This is your inventory, and I'm saying public, could be private if you're setting it as you're picking up stuff, whatever. And then this having void world switch. Oh wait, hold on. An array. Okay, so go through each item, which don't know if you're familiar with how that works, but like that would be like a for loop or a for each loop. I don't know your level of experience with coding and or Unity, but you knew what tags were, so I'm going to say that hopefully you probably have some experience. Okay, so go through each item, and then like on each item, let's see. So I mean, if I were to hard code it for a second, then after you do that, I might be able to figure out a more general way of doing it. But if I were to hard code it, it'd be like if current item is metal clump, then actually be more like this or something. Anyway, okay. So if the current item that we're on is metal clump, then basically, metal clump becomes it's stored crystal to switch. It's stored crystal to switch, and then likewise going the other way, if current item is crystal, then crystal becomes item to switch, whatever I called it, switch back item. So that's I did my thing. So that's something more generic in theory, or more general, to not have it on up to the crystals and the. I'm thinking that now I might be able to make this even more general, which could then just help you not have as much code, or have it be more general to like work with a wide variety of things if need be. This is like that. Okay. So if the current item is that, then so becomes. I guess also actually I should expand that first. So what does that mean to become the other thing? So if in your inventory you said you had a name and a number and objects. Okay, so what if rather than having metal, clump, and crystal, you essentially had an item class? So item class, and would you need like multi-item and single item? Multi-item class and single item class. So if you made two classes, and you might even be able to make these into one, where the only difference is that this is an array of size 1. And then I'm going to go make this even more generic to then work for more types of items. Item to switch to. That's not a great name, but it's descriptive. I usually favor like descriptive names over like being a lot less descriptive, and then you just have no idea what it is if you look back at it later. So essentially all this single item class stores is this. Actually, no, I can do one better. On this, it's going to store a string for, so this is going to store the prefab, well, actually, hold on. The prefab of the item. So, trying to think of what you'd want out of this. So what if actually the item, or wait, switchback item is going to be actually another, so multi, no, I can do this better. I can do this better. Sorry for keep me being indecisive, but I think I can just do this in a way that is better. So just having an item class where, yeah, if this is of size 1, then it doesn't, that's the same, it's effectively. So if you have items, and this basically will have a reference to other item classes. That's it. Okay. Okay, there we go. So rather than being game objects, it's items. Now, wait, then you need the actual, okay, so this stores what it becomes. As well on the item class, you store the information about what this item is. So maybe you have a string for, you know, item name. And you could maybe have that in the name of the game object, but let's just say you have it as a variable. And then maybe you have an image for the UI itself that is item image, and you pass that along. So you need to use using UnityEngine.ui for that. So, okay. If I organize it like this. So you have item info, and then you have item to switch to out of a selection, where these are the prefabs of other item things that you've made that you've stored as prefabs. Now, items, and actually then this can be an array of items. Cool. So, now, world switch can then be go through each item, and you know what? I can do this a bit more, like actually typing out the code. So for each, it's just going to be item, no, item, oh my, okay. It doesn't like, because of where I'm coding this, it just does not like this. Item, at the end of this, can you screenshot that? Because I can barely read that. Oh, sure. In fact, I can zoom in a little bit. Okay. And then, but then I totally will, yes. For each item, and okay, so, well, this is the name of the variable, this is the name of the class, that's because of how I named it, in items. Bois. That is what is this line. I'm going to keep it there. Go through each line, and then then you don't even need to test for different types of items. See, this is what I've just now removed, is you don't need to even test for each type of item, unless you had some special item that like goes outside of what usual items do. But in my case, multi-items and individual items, I think I've been able to combine them together. So what you then do is now item becomes its stored item to switch to. So that's gonna look like simply. Oh wait, I need to change the actual array. Okay, wait. For each loop is not gonna cut it because I need the actual index number. Int I equals 0, I is less than items dot length I plus plus. That's a normal for loop. In fact, I've learned that in C++ and Unity, normal for loops are ever so slightly faster than for each loops. That's just a thing. So this is actually then would be more efficient in terms of running faster. You basically don't notice it, but I did when I had code that needed to repeat like 4,000 times. No, it was 4,500 to the power of 3 times. Then you notice things being slower. Okay, anyway, so item at that thing becomes item at that thing dot what was it called? Item to switch to. Okay. Oh, good, C++, the new one I am in to add to my, the new one I am in to add to my C# and Java and Python. Oh, those are like the programming languages you learn. I mean, this is just C, or did I say C++? I meant to say C# before when I was talking about for loop stuff, but I had to learn C++ recently. It's not fun. Well, it's not that bad. I just really don't like pointers. That's the main thing. And also manually have to deal with like, doing header classes and a lot more work to do the same things that you can do in C#. And I don't have to deal with like memory allocation at all, basically here, other than going out of bounds of an array. Self-teaching, fair enough. And yeah, I mean, that was me to an extent. C++ I was forced to learn because of school, but I mean, Unity was like all self-taught. So yeah, and by extension, C#. My first programming language was Python. So yeah, this is items, I guess. Okay, so this in theory would work. So then beyond this, then you just need to display however you're displaying your array, which would just be like, this would be like your maybe update thing, or your, when you press the button to bring up your inventory, whatever like launches the ability to see your inventory. So at this point, actually, this is basically done, I think, but I'm just going one step further and maybe trying to do some display code using this. So go through each. This is also on your, it's gonna go use the same items. Okay. I'm gonna just copy the comment, I guess, just, yeah, because I can. Okay, go through each item again, and then for each item, then it's gonna be display the item. Now, how might you display it? Now, depending on how your inventory is set up, however you might look at, but like, basically, like some text field, like however you set up, like wherever the text of an item is, and maybe that's an array of like all of the, you see all of, so either this is going to be with, like you only see one item at a time, or you see all of the items, but essentially like how it is for Final Fantasy Online, kinda. I'm not familiar with that game, so let me Google it real quick. Final Fantasy Online images. Let me look for an inventory. And usually screenshots of gameplay don't have screenshots of certain items have different sizes. Ah, fair enough. If I just go inventory, I don't know if I'm gonna see. Ah, like this. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Okay, so you just have like the of different. I'm not seeing different sizes of things, but certain items have different sizes. Okay, I'll take your word for it. But yeah, okay. But so this actually doesn't show the names right away. So just the images. So okay, and it isn't like a grid. Okay. So how about I'm just gonna worry about just the images for now. That should be enough to get you started. Because then actually doing stuff to like what happens when you select an image and then blah 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 blah. So this is your list of all your items. So you would need so if you have the number of rows and the number of columns, so somewhere that needs to be defined, I guess. So I'm trying to think of what would be this. Would a two-dimensional array be better? Let's just say this is a two-dimensional array based on, I forget how you define these in C#. It's either like this or it's like this, and I don't remember which one. I think it's like this. But this is not going to tell me while I'm writing this all in the wrong places, and it really is not happy with that. But essentially, 8 across, 4 down. Cool. I didn't know you could do arrows like that in Twitch chat stuff. Okay, so let's just say that, yeah, so this is, I defined this previously as 8 and 4, as like a number of rows and number of columns kind of a deal. So, 4 down? Oh wait, actually then this would be reversed. because the rows is down, the columns is across. Okay, so if it's like this, then this actually does change this a little bit. So either this is an array of just every item in a sequence, or okay, wait. This becomes more complicated if, as you said, you have items of different sizes. So like, because what I was just about to do, if I can zoom in on this kind of, you can kind of see, let me get a better, I don't know, this. You can see this. My plan was, in theory, was to basically loop through the rows and the columns, and at each like empty block, essentially, at each block, decide if there should be an item there. So if there's an item in that array, if it's not null, then you might have to instantiate the image. It is FF14 online. Okay. I still not seeing. This looks the same to me, but but again, I'll yeah. So we have different items. Like you have if you have one item that takes up like a full 4 things, for example, like that's how I imagine. Or I don't know if you have a crazy like an L-shaped item or whatever. But there's one thing that takes up